Recording in progress.
Is that on
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go ahead and open this meeting with prayer. Father in heaven, we're thankful for the many blessings that thou hast given to us. We're thankful for the recent moisture that we've been blessed with, Father. We would ask thee to please continue to bless us with the water that we need for our city and our citizens to thrive. We're thankful that we live in Payson and in the state of Utah and are proud to be part of the United States of America. Please help us to make good decisions this night, Father, with the input of our citizens. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Council Moss will lead us in the pledge.
Please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ann. Okay. We'll go to the consent agenda. Approval of the May 20th, 2026 City Council meeting minutes, and number 2, approval of the Community Beautification Initiative letter. Unless there's any discussion from the council, I'm ready for a motion on this item.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call vote started with Council Smith.
Yes.
Council Hewlett?
Yes.
Council Rowley?
Yes.
Council Moss?
Yes.
Council Provost Guard?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to D, petitions. Number 1, Community Action Services and Food Bank presentation. Jessica, are you here with us? Yes. Come on up, Jessica. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. My name is Jessica Miller. I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Community Action Services and Food Bank. And today I wanted to come in and kind of present to you the results of our community needs assessment. We conduct a community needs assessment every 3 years, and that helps us to determine where we should provide programs and services. And so we'll go through that. Just to tell you a little bit about us, we have been around since 1967, serving Utah, Wasatch, and Summit counties. And our mission is to foster self-reliance in individuals, families, and the communities. We do that with a vision that we'll have vibrant, sustainable communities throughout Utah, Wasatch, and Summit counties, where each resident has safe and affordable housing, healthy and life-sustaining food, adequate economic opportunities, and people in their life they can count on. So to tell you a little bit about our needs assessment process, we conducted community focus groups. We invited community leaders to participate in those focus groups. And then we also surveyed the guests that come into our community action locations. We also surveyed a variety of data from the community, and you can see a long list of sources there of data that we looked at to determine what are the issues that we're facing in Utah, Wasatch, and Summit counties. So there were 3 priority areas. The first is housing insecurity and lack of affordable housing. Second, income gap and a rising cost of living. And the third one is food insecurity. So I'm going to go into each one of those. The first being housing insecurity and the lack of affordable housing. I think it's probably no surprise to anyone. We've seen housing skyrocket over the last 6 or more years, and it has been affecting many in our community. Just a little bit here to start with home ownership challenges. You can see that the average home price in 2021 was $459,138. And if we just look at a rise in average home price, you can see on the right-hand side the effect that that has on the average monthly payment, that it would increase to $2,235. The added element that we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years is that the interest rate has also gone up, and so that has contributed to the the rising of the average monthly payment. And this is just the principal and interest. So there are other factors that go into determining a monthly mortgage payment. And so this is just showing how that is going to be impacting those in our community. Looking at foreclosures, Utah is 9th in the nation for foreclosures. And we had more than 400 foreclosure filings this past February. And that is an increase of more than 17% from December of 2024. And so we know that there are families who are not meeting this challenge. They're finding very difficult. One thing to note, I have this chart back up again, that this does have these monthly mortgage payments are based on having a 10% down payment. And so that means you would need to have more than $50,000 saved to get this price for your monthly mortgage. And so many, as they're saving up, they need to rent, and there are similar challenges on the rental side. Over the last 6 years, the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment has doubled in Utah County. And we've also seen a rise in evictions. They're now at pre-pandemic levels. And so we are finding that there are families who are being impacted, and housing is impacting their ability to keep and maintain their housing situation. Affordable housing has its definition. That means that housing costs are 30% or less of your gross monthly income. And so if you had a 2-bedroom apartment with a rent of $1,600 a month, that means that in order for that to be affordable, your monthly income would need to be $5,333 a month. That is considerably larger than if you were on a fixed income relying on Social Security benefits of $1,988 a month. So there's a gap there. And so what's happening to families that aren't able to meet this cost in housing? Unfortunately, we are seeing homelessness go up. And it's a broader definition than many kind of think homelessness might look like, because that does include those that are couch surfing. If you're living in your car, maybe you've moved in with parents or with your children because you aren't able to support housing on your own. You might be camping because you have nowhere else to go, or living somewhere that just isn't meant for human habitation. So this is a broad definition of what we're seeing happening in Utah County. Once a year, we do participate in what's called the Homeless Point in Time Count, and it occurs in January, and this is conducted all across the nation. And there's individuals that go out, and we find those that are experiencing homelessness. They may be in shelters, they may be living somewhere not meant for human habitation, and we survey them to find out the extent of the homelessness, as well as we ask them about what contributed to them becoming homeless. And so you can see here, just between 2024 and 2025, we saw a 34% year-over-year increase in those that are experiencing homelessness in Utah County. When we look at what contributed to them becoming homeless, you can see that 44% of them indicated mental health or mental illness played a role in that, domestic violence, 38%, and substance use, 23%. And so there's a variety of different reasons why people are experiencing homelessness as well. This takes us to the second priority area where we have an income gap, or we're seeing cost of living across the board go up. So looking at $10 in January 2021 was able to purchase, you now need $12.62 to have the same buying power. And so that's more than a 26% increase in the cost of living. So what is a living wage? That's the minimum income that's necessary for a worker to meet their basic needs without relying on public assistance. And so when we look at what the living wage is for our community here in Utah County, in 2022, the average wage was $26.63 an hour, and the living wage was $40.48. Oh dear, sorry about that. And in 2025, both of those have gone up, but unfortunately, the difference between the two is getting wider. And so we're seeing that wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. 16% widening over 4 years. This brings us to the third priority area, food insecurity. And what is the definition of this? It's when there's the limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe foods, or limited and uncertain ability to acquire acceptable foods in socially acceptable ways. And so the signs of food insecurity, maybe that you're timing when you're going to the grocery store, you're eating less or you're skipping meals, you are attending events where there's free food, and constantly just being concerned about where your next meal is coming from. So when we look at food insecurity in Utah County, more than 87,000 individuals in our community are experiencing food insecurity, 12.8%. And when we look at children, an even higher percentage, 15.1% of the children in Utah County are experiencing food insecurity. And we're seeing that as free and reduced lunch rates have there's been an increase in that as well as and we've just seen an increase in the food insecurity among children. Another area and another population that we're concerned about is our seniors. Utah does have the highest senior malnutrition death rate in the nation. And so we're looking at how we can address this population, but it's not what we want to see in our community. Looking at our community, at our food pantries, we have seen usage increase. In 2022, we served 12,487 unduplicated individuals, and this last year we served 22,607 unduplicated individuals. And so we're definitely seeing an increase in the need in our community for food assistance. So community action, in response to what we found in our community needs assessment, we are using what we call our food and more service delivery model. And so as people come to us and they are needing to stabilize their basic needs, and we want to get them, as our mission mentioned, to long-term self-reliance. And so we use we focus our programs in 3 areas that correspond with the needs that we were seeing that were identified in the community needs assessment. We focus on food. We have the 2nd largest food bank in Utah. We have 4 food pantries, 1 in Provo and 3 on the Wasatch Back. And we distribute kid packs to schools in our community to help address student hunger. And we have deliveries of senior bags that are going to senior centers to address the senior population. And we have community gardens. We have 2 in Spanish Fork, 3 in Provo that are teaching people how to grow their own food, providing them with the seeds, water, the tools, as well as master gardeners that can help to teach them how to grow food and to have that skill that people can use their entire lives.
Jessica, where is your food bank located, the regional food bank?
It's in Provo. It's just south of the Front Runner Station on Freedom Boulevard. On the housing side, we provide emergency shelter vouchers that are able to house families with children in motels in Utah County for very short stays to help them to find another place to go. We operate the Utah County Winter Response Warming Center, and that provides shelter to keep people warm overnight, adults warm overnight in the winter months. We also provide case management, and so there's a case manager that's able to hear the individual story and connect them with resources that we have, others in the community. They work with them to put together an action plan so that they can set goals and then to follow up with how things are coming along in that achieving that action plan. We're able to help those that are experiencing homelessness to get rehoused through helping with security deposits, application fees, a lot of those costs that are just a part of getting into a housing situation. We can help with those based on eligibility. And then we also have transitional supportive housing. We purchased an apartment complex, and we have 6 units where families with children are able to stay for up to 6 months. So I'm sorry, 3 months, 60 and 90 days, so 3 months, to get back on their feet. And so that's filling a gap in the community. And then we also can help with rent and utility assistance. And with these assistance programs, then individuals are required to participate in eviction prevention classes that kind of go over what the eviction process is, some financial literacy principles, and the rights and responsibilities of renters. So as people get stabilized, then we also offer education programs. We do have a series of 4 financial literacy classes that goes over budgeting, savings, credit and debt management. We have homebuyer education, and we have a Circles economic mobility coaching program that helps families who are experiencing poverty to increase their income to 200% of the federal poverty level. And we also have a commercial kitchen that we are able to that those who are low income and wanting to start a food-based business are able to rent space in there so that they don't need to come up with like a brick and mortar place on their own at the beginning. And so that provides another income stream for them. So looking at who we served in 2025 who were residents of Payson, 34% were children, 3% were seniors, 71% rented their home, 9% were experiencing homelessness. We had 17% of those we served from Payson who were single individuals, 21% were 2-parent households, 23% were single-parent households, and we saw about 16% who were multi-generational. 34% were employed part-time or full-time, 22% were unemployed, 12% were not in the labor force, and 2% were retired. 14% were experienced disability, and 23% had less than a high school diploma, 41% had a diploma or a GED, 11% had some post-secondary education, and 13% had completed at least an associate's degree. We served in total 619 unduplicated residents of Payson. One thing that we found was that 97% of those received food, but also participated in our other programs. And so we're happy that they are utilizing other programs, and hopefully that is helping them to move towards self-reliance. So what's next? On the housing side, we're looking for policies that will increase the affordable housing stock, and we're looking to expand partnerships so that we can provide more supports for those who are experiencing homelessness. On the income gap side, we're looking to how we can promote financial literacy classes and circles throughout the county, and to expand education and employment partnerships so that we can create more pathways for people to increase their income. And on the food side, we are wanting to expand food pantry access throughout Utah County and to promote partnerships where we can have more nutritious foods in our food pantries. That is my presentation. So I don't know if you have any other questions.
I don't have any questions, but what you provide is in addition to other programs, is that right?
In the community?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Like there are other service providers.
We have
Tabitha's Way.
Tabitha's Way, Mountain Associations of Government, they have programs
Yes.
that take care of that as well.
Yes, and we do work to partner with them and to do our best to not duplicate services, but to
That
work
was my
together.
next question. How do you not, and not that, we want to exclude people from getting some help they need, but how do you prevent that from occurring?
Well, we tend to, we can serve anyone in Utah County, and definitely we aren't turning anyone away. Like you mentioned, if someone needs food, they can come to us for food. We kind of how it has worked out, especially with Tabitha's Way. I know they have some locations down in Spanish Fork, and so they're serving, more of the southern portion of the county. We're in Provost. There's more that are coming to us from the middle of the county. They have another pantry up in Pleasant Grove, American Fork, and so it's kind of working out that way where we partner with local grocery stores, and we've separated them out so that based on geography, the food either goes to Tabitha's Way or it's coming to us, so that we aren't competing, but we're working together and utilizing what's available in the county.
Okay, sounds good.
I have a couple of questions for you. So where's your funding come from?
That's a really good question. We have a mix of funding. For a long time, we've had a lot of federal funding. That has been a lot more uncertain, and so we are expanding, looking for more local support to support what we're doing. We actually have a big fundraiser that we're launching this fall that we're really excited about. It's a bigger, better auction, and so it's a competition. So there's teams that will start with a can of green beans, and then they'll go out in the community and ask, what can you give me that's bigger or better? And to collect donations for the auction. And then the team that gets the most, that's the highest, raises the most money from their items is going to be the winner. And so we're excited. We're still looking for teams. If anyone here
I
is
think
interested
we
in-
need a team.
I think that would be amazing because we actually have Marcia Judkins, Provo Mayor, on board, Karen McCandless, Orem Mayor on board. And so they're each going to have a team. So it would be wonderful if Payson was interested in having a team.
Well,
Yeah,
we
we'd love
can't
that.
let them outdo us, so, you know.
Well, we're open to help wherever it comes. So yes, we'd love to have you participate. I can definitely provide more information.
So I have a couple more questions for you. If we wanted to start a community garden, how would we do that through you?
So we definitely are open to that. We would need to find funding for it because right now we have a community gardens manager who is trying to manage 5 community gardens. And so
Just one second. Go ahead.
if there was funding to help support us so that we could have additional staff and a location is really going to be key. In Spanish Fork, our last garden that we just opened last week, it was the use of it was given to us by Canyon View Medical. And so we have about an acre there where we've been able to put 66 plots that are available to members of the community to rent for $20 a year. Yes.
Sir, did you have something to add? Come on up, please. So come on up. It's recorded.
I work for Lowe's, and so I know.
Would you identify yourself?
I'm Slade Bueller.
Okay.
And I work at Lowe's, and Spanish Fork City came to us and asked Lowe's to donate. We donated all the lumber and blocks and stuff to put it all together. And so I know because I delivered it. And so you just have to come to them and ask what they're willing to donate and give them a plan. And that's
Okay.
part of the
Wonderful.
plan if you find a spot.
Thank you.
And maybe you'll be able to work in Payson here soon. So I just, a couple more questions. One is, I didn't see too much on job training, but have you talked to MTech at all? We have MTech here in Payson about helping these people get in without any fees or anything like that.
We're looking to do that. As I mentioned, we conducted this last year. And so this is the area that we're looking to grow in. And so we definitely want to partner with MTech and look for these partnerships so that we can, help expand exactly job training for those that are coming to our food pantries.
And I can help you with that if you reach
Oh,
out.
wonderful. Okay. Any other questions?
Questions, council?
Thank you, Jessica. We're grateful for what you guys do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the
Jessica,
opportunity.
thank you for being here.
I'll get you the information about the fundraiser.
Mayor, can I just make a quick
You bet.
editorial
Please.
comment? Community action is awesome. When my wife and I were buying our first home, the resources and information that they provided for that whole process to 2 very naive people about it was so helpful, and that resource just really was able to springboard into the purchase of our home and actually understanding what that whole process would be. And so there are so many resources that community action provides, not just the food bank part of it, but just the betterment of a community. So
I think the more we get
Fully
that kind of
endorse that.
information out, the better about any and all programs.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay. We'll move on to number 2, Yard of the Month. Bob. Actually, we have 2, don't we?
Well, she's coming.
Come on up, Karma. Don't be shy. I know you're not.
I'll come down and walk you up. I'm really, really excited to be part of the beautification committee this year in Payson. You heard us approve a letter that was generated by staff and the beautification committee, and we're going to kick off a Take Pride in Payson event that we hope the entire community will grasp onto. The letter will be made public now that the council has approved it and sent out in our letter We will use it as we go, as the beautification committee goes to all of our civic organizations, all of our church groups, our high schools and our schools to recruit service to help us beautify and take pride in Payson. If you get an opportunity, I would encourage you to read the letter and read the spirit of which it was written. We're excited to take pride in Payson. In keeping with that spirit and keeping with the long tradition of the beautification committee, June is our first award of the Yard of the Month. And the Yard of the Month for June is Karma Whitelock. I've known Karma a long time, and their yard has always been one of pleasure and quietness to be in the backyard. And the beautification committee was unanimous that Karma should be our Yard of the Month this year.
Bob, could I also inject Hoppy?
Yes. Yes, Hoppy kicked it off.
Yep.
But it takes
I'll tell you who really helped, and that was my youngest son and his wife, because I've been without my hubby for 6 years. So I've had a lot of support from the family,
so maybe we should say the Karma Whitelock family.
Karma Whitelock family. Yes.
Thank you. Karma, on behalf of the city and the city council and the beautification committee, there is a certificate and $100 gift card
Oh, my-
to Olson's Garden Shop, and I'm
Thank you
sure
so
you
much.
can spend that.
Is it okay if I hug Bob?
Get a picture?
Thanks, Bob. All right. Okay, right here.
Yeah, stand right here in the middle. Karma, I'm jealous. I need to help you.
Okay, good.
Can I stand right here?
You bet, you bet.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. How special. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Not done yet, are you?
Nope. And then the beautification committee thought if we're really going to go out in a big bang this year, we wanted to award the most improved yard of the month. And for the month of June, could we get Slade and Sally Bueller and their family? Looks like just Slade and just you two tonight to come forward. And on the certificate, we're so excited. I don't know who found the time to go take the picture today.
That was
Who was it? Was that Bree? So we can thank Bree for the picture. So there is a certificate on behalf of the council and the mayor and the staff, and a $100 gift card to Olson's Garden Shop.
Picture?
We hope in the coming months during the summer that this most improved will get very competitive. We envision people dropping $1,000 to get a $100 gift card.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Don't get away.
Okay. Moving on, we'll go to number 3, public forum. Anyone that would like to speak to us as city council, please approach the podium and identify yourself and be cognizant of the time. Try to limit your information to around 3 minutes if you could. Realize that we probably won't solve anything here, but we certainly would like to listen to you. So we'll open up public forum. Come on up. Appreciate you being here.
I'm Ross Huff, one of your newest
residents, although I've lived here 81 years. Anyway, I have a couple of things. First, I'd like to congratulate our police department. They're on top of it, and at my age, you really appreciate that. The other day, I went to Provo, set the alarm in the house, and when I come back, I walked in, no hearing aids. I couldn't hear the alarm go off. And within 10 to 15 minutes, less than that maybe, a police officer showed up. Very polite, did his job, wanted to know my name, birth date, and everything to verify that it was my home. And like any old dummy, I forgot to ask his name, but whoever he is, I appreciate it. Secondly, like I said, I've lived here since I was 5 years old, 81 years I've lived here. And I've always considered myself a member of Payson City, although I wasn't until I just got annexed. And I've always been proud of Payson. But in the last couple of years, my pride has just grown. What we've done, there's been done on Main Street, throughout the city parks, and our golf course. The city is becoming something really to be proud of. Everybody should be proud of it.
Thank you.
And I've noticed up at the golf course, it looks like you're making it a golfer's destination with the really nice RV park, and I've been in a lot of them. That's as nice as I've seen. And with the new par 3 course going in, it's just great. So I just want to let Tracy know how much I appreciate what he's doing. And if you guys, you kids up there, can find it in your heart, maybe you'd want to lower the rates for us guys over 65.
Doing our best, doing our best. Thank you very much. Okay, anyone else? Anybody online? Nobody online. Okay. Thank you, thank you. We'll move on. We'll close the public forum and move on to staff reports. Okay, Tracy, come on up, basking the compliment that you just got.
I was actually saying, I was making fun of Brad. I'm like, does everyone that go up there have to say something nice about the police? But then Ross came through for me, so thanks, Ross. Yeah. No, I'm here tonight. I'd like to introduce a couple of our new parks employees. This is fun. I'm going to bring them both up here so they can shake your hands at once. So Alicia and BJ, come up here. While they're coming up here, I'll tell you a little bit about Alicia first. It's exciting because she come through our part-time help program. So she started working with us as part-time summer help, and she impressed us so much that she ended up with a full-time position in the parks, just barely. We won't hold it against her that she lives in Spanish Fork.
We won't?
Hopefully we can get, well, not in a public hearing, but inside, I will. But she enjoys, being outdoors, ATV, jet ski, anything outdoors. She's really a motivated go-getter and loves beautification, which we love in the parks. And then next we have AJ Bill. We stole him from Eagle Mountain. And even though he doesn't look like he's been working a long time because he looks so young, boy, we really got a good one here with the irrigation. Come right in. It's been just a great fit for him. He brought some different ideas, some different things. We kind of cherry picked through Wes and Derek, who knew AJ when they worked over there, and when a position come open, we reached out and stole him. So I just wanted to introduce them tonight so that you knew who they were. And AJ, before I need to embarrass him, he loves hunting, playing with dolls, did you say? Or no, that, mostly hunting, working on cars, trucks, anything with his hands. Both of them very, very talented. We're very fortunate to have them. So if you just want to shake their hands and.
Well, just a sec, real quick.
Okay.
This is a perfect segue for me. I was going to wait till our council reports, but I got a letter here of a citizen that was very, very impressed with how well maintained this city cemetery is and was during the Memorial Day weekend. So please pass that on.
We will. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We will pass that on. And one thing while we're talking about parks, we're going into that 90 days of the year where we have something there for 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days at a time. So we're working on, you might see the grass a little longer than what we would like to maintain. You know, we just have different watering windows, different things. So if you see something there that's not as perfect as we like, that's why we're just trying to protect the turf. We had a soil sample taken today to see if we could put something on there for nutrients, you know, to help with water, some different things. So we're just trying to get through this hot period. So
Yeah, I talked to Wes about that. It's a great idea and that you guys take it personal, and we appreciate that.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, just shake their hand. Go and shake their hand.
Welcome. Welcome.
Great smile, Will. And then you just talk me on the ground. Welcome. Yes. Carl.
Mayor and Council, in the Community Services Recreation, just a few things to bring up to you. Last Thursday, we had a volunteer work day with the young mountain bike teams. We had 60 participants show up at Fort Bay and do trail maintenance and trimming and get things ready for the season. This weekend, the 5 high school local teams are going to come ride a 4 hours of Fort Bay event. So we look forward to having 250 plus riders there this Saturday morning from our town and other towns. We also started youth tennis this week. That's been fun, growing program there. And just as an update, the high school tennis courts, which we participated in, some of those are not done yet, but they're getting really close. So next week we have our youth basketball camp starting, and our youth soccer camp. Both of those camps are being taught by the high school coaches for us. And so we're excited about that coming. And then I wanted to just invite the public to Adventure Day coming up June 13th. Jump on our webpage, look at the events that are there. There's a variety of events. Some new ones are a scavenger hunt in the Fort Bay area. We have an all-inclusive obstacle course where we have Extreme Modus, which is a business in town as well that makes an all-terrain wheelchair. This will be all-inclusive, so able and disabled bodies that can do that in the park amongst the bounce houses and in between, cardboard boat regatta. There's quite a few activities. Again, we have the triathlon that weekend happening at the pool and at the ball fields. And we have the Grand Fondo race cycling series coming as well. And that race has grown a bit from last year. We look forward to a little bit more growth. And also, if anybody's looking for volunteer opportunities, we're still looking for a few volunteers to work some of the aid stations for that. So thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Just super quick, Council. I thought you'd be interested to know Steve Spencer stopped me in the hall yesterday and said that asbestos is being removed from the slaughterhouse in preparation for its demolition. So that's fast coming. So we'll keep you updated and all of that. But just wanted to let you know that that's happening. So thanks.
Thank you. Donna.
Sorry, we're on the program a bit tonight, but I just wanted to
No, you're
update
good.
you on our summer reading started this week, and we had around 400 people at the kickoff on Saturday. Gunderson Dental brought the theme this year is Unearth a Story, and so we're going hard on dinosaurs this year. And Gunderson Dental let us use their float that has dinosaurs on it. And Thanksgiving Point came and did a booth, and we partnered with Fossil Shack, the new little. They came in and presented some of their fossils, and Molly did a great job. And we've had over 700 people sign up for the summer reading program. So I always invite you guys to sign up too. It's online, it's for all ages, and it's really, really fun. It'll keep you when you're bored. I know how bored we all get, but anyway, thank you. Any questions?
No, we just like to thank you wholeheartedly for what you do.
I know everybody liked Lily's letter. It was cute. I don't know who Lily is, but it was good. So thank you.
Any other staff? Not, we'll start with council reports. Bob?
Oh, Mayor, in essence of time, I'll just say I've spent a lot of time out and about with the beautification committee, and every corner it seems like we go around, we run into one of our staff, one of our service trucks, or guys out weed eating. That weed eating crew is unreal. I think that is Kent's department on the
On
street weed
certain
eating.
streets, yeah.
But the water department, every department I've ran into and had conversation, and I'm just tickled the way we're greeted, the way they don't know me, some of them don't know me from Adam, and they're just very, so staff, please, Robert, would you let our department heads know, a lot of you are here, how Payson truly does look good. My wife and I traveled the state Memorial Day putting flowers on family graves, and our Payson cities looks just as good, if not better than any that we were at. So thank you.
Ann?
First of all, we know that ballots are being mailed out.
Turn your microphone on, Ann.
Oh, thank you. I always remember. I can't believe I forgot this time.
Mine kept turning off last time.
So for the Republicans in the room, the primary election ballots have been mailed. I received mine today. If you're sending your ballot by mail, I just want to remind people, please mail it early. Ideally, as soon as you receive and complete it, to ensure it is postmarked by June 23rd at 8 p.m. and arrives in time to be counted, to make your voice be heard. Also, confirm your voter registration and party affiliation at vote.utah.gov. Return your completed ballot by mail, the earlier the better, at an official drop box. We have one right on the north side of our building, or in person by election day. Or there's early in-person voting beginning at designated locations on June 9th. But I also have something to say, and I was going to talk to the mayor about this before, but we ran out of time. Many of you may have received a mass text message today from our mayor, who I consider a dear friend. I just want you to know that. And our sheriff endorsing a certain candidate for Congressional District 3. And they have every right to support the candidate of their choice, just as I have the right to respectfully disagree. I'm worried that because it was from our mayor, that it might be implied that everyone agrees with that endorsement. And I wish he would have consulted the council, or at least let us know the endorsement was coming, because it was kind of all of a sudden. But their endorsement does not represent my views and does not represent a lot of people's views that I have spoken with. I strongly disagree with their support for who they endorsed, because I'm not allowed to mention names, I've been told.
Let's not get too.
And this isn't political, I'm just saying. I have a right to say my opinion. But I think as a council, since we all represent Payson and you represent Payson, it can be misconstrued as that is the general consensus. And I just want to make sure that it is known that it is not. And so my opinion differs. My opinion has been similar to the mayor in many instances, and I've agreed with him in many instances, but I do not in this one at all. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'd like to clarify too, it's nothing I haven't done over the last 8 years. This isn't something brand
And
new.
that's okay.
And, I think we're all allowed to, whether we have a position on the council or not, we're allowed to express our opinions. So that's enough about that. But the one thing I wanted to report on is with regards to the beautification of Payson, we started about, I can't remember how many years ago, maybe 4 or 5, maybe a little bit longer, putting flowers up Main Street and then around our city park. What's really nice for me to hear is there were some citizens that were asking a previous city councilwoman where the flowers were. Yes, I know. And I was able to tell her that they'll be picked up Monday, is from what I'm being told by Wes. Has that changed? Okay. And the only reason I'm talking about it is very encouraging to hear that people are really missing those flowers, because
it is beautification of our city, and it's also a hometown feel for it. So I just wanted to mention that that's an encouraging thing that people are wondering where they're at. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and council, residents and staff. Thank you, Ann, for the reminder about voting. I actually just barely dropped off my ballots as I walked in this morning at the ballot box. And yeah, I'm grateful that we can all voice our opinions for our different candidates of choice. I think that's just fine. And this is politics. So here we are talking it, and that's all right. I do want to thank all of the staff, and I know we'll make sure Janine knows as we come into busy time, how grateful we are for her as we plan all of these city events and parties. And I think it's so important we continue to hold these parties and hold them to a high standard each and every year to provide those for the residents to keep Payson feeling good and small and keep that hometown feel we all love. Chief, I'm excited. I was doing a cool 95 miles an hour down 600 South today, and I saw one of the new motorcycles. No, I'm kidding. I did see the motorcycle, but I wasn't going
Never
that
admit guilt.
I was only going 80.
But no, I'm grateful we have those motorcycles out and about, and that our officers got through training. That's going to do a huge improvement on our trails. Keep in line the e-bikers and also the graffiti and just the high speed. They'll be able to patrol really good. So I'm excited to see them out and about. That's great. To the council and mayor, we do have a conservation easement party coming up with Lehigh City. I will text you each the details of that. That's coming up in a couple weeks, where we're going to invite Lehigh City to come down and see what we are protecting and do a hike with them through Bay and just continue to rally their support.
I'm glad we're inviting previous council too.
Yes, we are, in previous council member Christensen and Hyatt. And I did want to make mention the Labor Day parade. Are we going to start that in the same place we did last year? I know there was a lot of residents that were disappointed because they were where we used to start it, clear further down by Riley's Taste of Sunshine. But now with the new Payson High School field houses, we pull out further north on that street, and a lot of people just flat miss the parade. And so wherever we start, I just hope we can, and I'll help to get the word out of where the starting point actually is. That way there's just not crushed hopes and dreams by lots of people that set up chairs years in advance for the Grand Onion Day parade that miss out on it. So let's just make sure we coordinate. And once we know that, let's heavily advertise where the actual starting point for the floats is. I had to run back. I had to wade through mayor's horse poop to go back and give these poor people some candy that were back behind where they missed the parade. And the last thing, Mayor and Council, I'm so sorry. I do need to excuse myself. I have to run out and change water on the farm. I will come back just as quick as I can. But thank you. That's all I have tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I just have a few things there. So, Bob, on the beautification committee, I just have a couple of things. One is, it'd be really nice if we could have pictures that we could put up on the screen so everybody can see, and we can see what they've done. If we can do that, that'd be great.
Be a good addition.
And do we put a sign up in the yard I think we
do.
used to, and we're still doing that? Yep. Okay, and then along with your beautification, your letter, and trying to get everybody involved, how often do we have the free dump pass? Is that once a year or twice a year?
In the spring and in the fall, if I remember right.
And so just if we want to do this beautification, we do it at a certain time, we ought to try to coordinate with the
So it's intended to be a year-round
thing. Okay.
thing. And if you read in the letter, we're offering sizable projects that we will actually take dumpsters to the site that is specified. For example, if we get the Baptist, I can't remember the Baptist church. Hope Baptist Church of a project that they're considering. We told them we would take them a dumpster. The same with the LDS, meaning if there's a high school church group or high school group that wants to do a project, we will. Individual homes, not so much. There again, as we talked to Kent, Robert, as we've talked to Kent, if it's a yard major cleanup and it's, a whole bunch of elders quorum or whatever, it may be Kent will work with them at the landfill to make sure that.
We've done that before.
Yep.
You bet.
Yep.
Perfect.
So we want to make sure that that the intent of this is to bring community spirit and togetherness. And
Great. Um, uh, just so you know, we had a grant from the Utah Tourism Office, and we just finished a feasibility study for an indoor rodeo arena, so we'll be able to share that with you. They just finished last week. Also, I don't know if it was reported last week, but Robert and the mayor and I went down to ICSC, which is where we recruit retail businesses to come to Payson. We had a really good time there. Met a lot of people, and since that, in the last 2 weeks, I've had a lot of brokers reach out to me, and Payson's getting on the map, and they reach out with some retail and some restaurants. So I think we're going to start seeing some things happen here. So we're really excited about that.
Okay, Lacey.
I just wanted to, before I was on the council, this was my favorite thing during the years. Anytime we have the flags up along Main Street. So I loved them up for Memorial Day, and it just kind of reminds me of how much I love Main Street and just want to preserve it and keep it that area the way it is. And I even had someone come to my house to do something, and later that day, she had posted on her social media about just the feel of it and the flags and such. And so just a thank you to everyone that works hard on doing that. I recently just got back from what people call as paradise, and it was, but one of my favorite things when I leave town on an airplane is coming back, and if the route comes over our way, is seeing Payson and pointing it out to my little boy of like, look, there's Payson, there's our house. And he just got so excited. And although we were in paradise, I was really ready to get back to Payson. So I love Payson, but, and then I just was going to follow up if we'd had any more talk about the cemetery / dog use. Someone had reached out again if there was any discussion on it. So, okay, that was all. Okay, but yeah, but I'm happy to recruit. But that was it. So
That's it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lacey. Thanks for your information. Okay, we'll move on to E, action items, public hearing to receive input from the public with respect to I, the issuance of Series 2026 bonds, and I, any potential economic impact that the project to be financed with proceeds of the Series 2026 bonds may have on the private sector. Brian?
and yes, it will have impact.
Thank you for being here, Brian.
Happy to be here. It's a great community, one of my favorite places. I wanted to just say, as you read, you've got subheading I and then I, and the reason for the public hearing really is to allow private business who doesn't like what you're doing because you're competing with them to come and express their grievances. It was really kind of intended for like rec centers and things like that people worried about private competing with public. And so in this case, we got some people here. I don't know if any of them are really just hopped up and mad because they want to run their own sewer system, but here you are doing a sewer system. So that's the purpose of the public hearing.
Okay.
And I just wanted to let you know, so we have the final rates from Bank of Utah as the purchaser of your bonds. And so there's no action item that is part of this at all today. I think you just open and close the public hearing and listen to anybody who has anything to say. But the rate on the transaction over 21 years is a 4.6%. And I can compare that with other transactions that we've seen done in the last week or two. We've seen some private placements up as high as 5.25% and even higher than that over 20, 25, or 30 years. I think it is a good deal. I think that one of the great benefits of it is that you can prepay it at any time for any reason. And so everybody knows, when you see the Mortgage Mike billboards telling you what the mortgage interest rates are, they're not down where they used to be. And so we know that rates are high, and at some point in the future, We hope that they're a couple percentage points lower than they are right now. And at that point, because Bank of Utah will have literally done $57 million worth of sewer revenue bonds for the city, that you can go and refinance all of those and save a bunch of money. The ones that you did, the largest portion that you did, the 42 million, was at a 4.19% over 30 years, which is a fantastic rate. And right now you couldn't refinance that and save any money because that's just a great rate compared to where rates are right now. But so the city's in good position, I think, to get your project done, and then also structure and move forward with kind of WIFIA loan application and things like that, moving forward from there. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Council, any questions? We certainly don't want to inhibit private industry either. You know, we depend, it's a symbiotic relationship there. So, okay. Any comments?
I think it would be appropriate to tell the citizens how much the bonds are for,
Okay.
and why we're issuing.
This specifically the sewer bonds, is
Yep.
that?
This is a $5 million transaction.
Yeah.
And it's designed to, with the total project size and scope of the water treatment facility, this is the last piece of needing to cover all of the costs that went with this.
And it sounds like we're passing the buck, but it's something that we really didn't have a choice in.
Yes.
The state's pushing communities such as ours to do what we're having to do with our sewer plant. And just a real quick explanation. When I became mayor, we were looking at a $25 million bond. The state came to us, and and that's been about two years into my first term. The state came to us and said, "Hey, we've got this sewer plant that we think's the end all to beat all. It will help you run the plant and pay for the plant. We want you to stop." So we stopped and waited for that plant to get built. 2.5 years or so later, they came back to us and said, "Hey, this is a bust. It's not what we thought." And so you're back on that schedule. What's that?
The more regional plant?
It was up north.
Okay. Yeah. I remember.
It was the one to recycle the product.
Yeah. And so we said, yeah, we would wait. So we did. We waited. They came back and said, "No, it's not what we thought it was. You're back on the time clock, so to speak." And then COVID happened. And as a result of that, the costs skyrocketed, and we found ourselves between a rock and a hard place. So that's why there is an excessive amount of money that we didn't want to have to bond for. Anybody want to add anything?
Yes, and all the other cities are doing this exact same thing. They've gone way up, and they've had to do it too.
Provo, Spanish Fork, and others as well.
Yep.
I would just clarify as well, Mayor, that this $5 million does not represent an additional $5 million that the city council never considered. Yep. This is the last remaining $5 million of what was originally approved.
So we had no intention of going where it's went, but we had to go there. Okay. Well, go ahead and open a public hearing. Then we can hear from folks that would like to address us, and we'll go to that point.
I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Smith.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Provost-Guard.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Please step to the mic if you would like to talk to us and identify yourself. And please tell us what your thoughts are, whether you agree or disagree with some of the thoughts that have already been expressed. And again, try to be cognizant of the time that you're taking. And please don't restate over and over the same information. So we'll go ahead and open it. Okay. Doesn't look like there's anyone that's wanting to take that opportunity. We appreciate the explanation that you have given to us, and we'll go ahead and now accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Provost-Guard.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Smith.
Yes.
Okay, again, Brian, thank you very much for being here. Okay. Number 2, resolution authorizing the city treasurer to write off certain uncollectible debts owed to Payson City. Audrey, you're up.
This is your favorite thing to do every year, huh?
It's getting smaller though, right?
It is slightly smaller this year. So every year we bring this number to council to write off our bad debt. The bad debt is what has been sent to collections. And those are made up of anything from bankruptcy, regular collections, and also deceased accounts owned by deceased customers and the estate's unable to pay. So this year, our proposal to write off is $69,484.56. It is down to the penny. We have seen this number fluctuate a little bit in the last few years. I want to show you this next slide. It's kind of the better one to look at, so you can see 2024 compared to 2025. So our total last year was $73,644, and that was made up. Our numbers this year are made up of commercial renters. That's 6% of the write-off. Homeowners are 12%, landlords 1%, and renters are 81% of the write-off. And then if we go down to the reasoning behind the write-off, we have 1% in bankruptcy, 96% collections, and 3% deceased. And this year, year to date, as of last Wednesday, we had 1,270 new utility signups and 1,080 final billed accounts. And this is interesting to see as we go through the years. We have a significantly higher percentage of people moving out than just staying here. So we do expect this number to kind of unfortunately go up as we progress. We have measures that we would like to put into place, but we also would like your council as council. But for this year, we would like to propose writing off the $69,484.56 in bad debt. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple of questions for you. So it seems like this year there's more 1,000 and over than usually. Usually it seems like it's 500 or 600. Do you know why it might have been over 1,000 on quite a few of them?
It just varies every year. Sometimes it's a household that has expanded, multi-generational. They go from a $250 bill a month to over a $500 bill a month. So we've seen that happen. Yeah, it just varies year to year.
So another thing with renters, has it helped that we did the $250 deposit for basically everybody? Did that help or not? Or
I was
it's
hoping
not
it would
enough?
help more. I really was hoping it would help more, but it has helped in that I think people get through the application, and when they have to make that payment, they realize, oh, we're serious. I better be ready to pay. And we have seen some people that have argued about it, but I think it's been helpful for the city. It will, I think as time goes on, we'll see more of an effect of that. But
So this is for electric, water, sewer, everything, right?
yes.
So if you just look at our electric, we collected $20 million in electricity, and you do just electricity, it's 0.003%. I mean, it's really, really small, the amount of how much we charge everybody. So you do a great job. Thanks.
Audrey, could you go back to the slide that shows the percentage of where the write-offs are? Yes.
That one.
81% is renters, right?
Yes.
Would we consider from staff a recommendation to raise that deposit higher? For renters, yes.
Hey, Brandon, is
looking
that
at
going to be
Brandon.
legal?
Meaning
This has been, we have discussed it.
you know what? There's honest people, and then there's people that just aren't going to pay. And if we get up front a deposit and we hit that break point, I would love to see this number cut in half.
Have we looked into what the other cities do?
That's what we've had the discussion before, and there was some equal protection concerns because we're discriminating people based on their financial status,
Or homeownership.
or homeownership status. And then we did look a little bit, and I need to get back because we were looking at the good renters programs, and I remember Councilman Smith sent me some
What Orem does.
what Orem does,
Mm-hmm.
and still we haven't adopted anything yet, but yeah, we've got.
I know
more
we've
to do
talked,
with that for good. I think a good renters.
I just throw that out because my math tells me that that's about $3 per citizen. There's 24 for 9, 25,000, say $3, that's 75,000. We're writing off 69 to every man, woman, and child in Payson. I just think we can do better.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, something that we want to explore and consider. And as staff, as far as staff is concerned, I think if we can do it within the bounds of legally protected, any efforts that we can do to reduce that number across the board.
I know the Realtors Association would probably hate us.
I mean,
we've raised,
I look at the percentage of landlords 1%, renters 81%.
Yep.
And that's why I was saying, like with Orem, where they do hold that landlord accountable.
I think we need to do that.
That's
well, we've talked about that. I don't know whether
we have.
there's some
Amy,
legalities there as well.
I would expect staff could give us a recommendation on we hold the landlord liable or I mean, the gas company's doing it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we
I'm
can't wait.
liable for my rental.
Other cities
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
So that's just my.
Definitely
Something we need to.
Would staff come back to us and see if we can get somewhere with this a little bit better?
Yes, and we've been reaching out to other cities as well to see what they're implementing because
Yes.
this conversation is being had heavily.
I love
across
the
state
landlord
of
idea.
Utah. So,
I do too.
yeah.
I really do. I think
Because they're the ones renting the place out.
they're the ones.
They're the
choosing
ones
renter.
getting financial benefit.
Mhm. Yep.
And I'll
Okay.
just give a shout out to Audrey and her team.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
To be
Yes.
which generally is Audrey and Audrey.
Cheryl's team is amazing. They're the ones who are pursuing the collections. They're the ones who are trying to get people to pay before it goes to collections to help save their credit scores. So
They're the
Cheryl's
ones getting
team
verbally
is
attacked
amazing.
sometimes on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or in
They're
person.
all amazing.
yeah.
Thanks, Audrey.
And any other discussion for Audrey and before we take action on this item? Okay,
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve the write-off of certain uncollectible debts owed to Payson City in the amount of $69,485.
I'll second it. Okay, there's been a motion been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Smith,
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
And Council Provost Garza.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council.
We'll move on to number 3, resolution appointing library board members on the Payson Library Board. Donna, you're up again.
I'm really honored to be able to participate with the library board. We have such great people that work on the library board and on our Friends of the Library committee. And sadly, Deborah Kelly has been, not sadly that she's been on, but sadly her 2 terms on the library board have come up. And so, and also Amy Pitcher, who's going to try to be here tonight, has actually been on since I started at Payson Library in 2013. So we've really locked down our terms, and we're trying to really keep up with making sure that we do the 3 years and the 2 terms, and then they take it, they rotate out, and we're trying to give other opportunities to other people in the community as well. But the appointment this time is for Brittany Johnson and Ann Humphreys. They have been on the board previously. They're heavily involved with our Friends of the Library. I think they both predate me coming to the library 2013. Ann's been a pillar at all fundraising and events, and they are passionate about the library, the library that we have, and a future library. They have great passion for it. So I'm really excited to announce to have them here tonight. And I think Emily said she would swear them in. Yeah, thank you.
Donna, I have a question really quick. So they've been on the Friends of the Library.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do both? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. So
And,
we're not losing people.
No.
On one end.
No, we can't.
Well,
And anyone would like to join the Friends of the Library, we would love to have you. We really take all participants and love and appreciate all the work that people do.
And they are at everything.
Yeah, they do a lot.
I'm sure I can, and I have spoke for the council just earlier in the meeting. We are very, very pleased with how things are going with the library, and that reflects on the board as well. So we appreciate it. And I cannot, for me, find a reason not to, and of course I don't get to vote, but I can't find a reason why we should not put them on the board again.
Thank you.
Council?
Donna, and just give your staff a high five for me. The dinosaur thing, awesome. Because for a while I thought dinosaurs are getting forgotten, and they're not.
They're back. The dinosaurs are back. Thank
Hey,
you.
council, any discussion other than what we've already had?
Nope.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the appointing library board members on the Payson Library Board.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, motion been seconded. Roll call vote starting with Council Smith.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Provost Guard.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Welcome, ladies, again. So we appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Still.
Yes. Don't swear at them.
And I'm just helping myself tonight.
That's totally fine.
Obey and defend the Constitution of the State of Utah. Constitution of the State of Utah. And the laws and ordinances of Payson City. And the laws and ordinances of Payson City. And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. And I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Ladies, we'd love to shake, don't sit down yet. We'd love to shake your hand.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, that leads us to number 4, and the theme is continuing library feasibility study. Donna and Kevin. You're going to stay down, you're going to get up. Donna, you've been up enough? Okay.
Is there a HDMI? How do I connect? Sorry, I've done this before once, but I don't.
They just bring it up.
Yeah, okay.
Please hold.
If they're ready. Good man.
While he's looking it up, I'll reintroduce Kevin Blaylock.
Okay.
I think he presented before the new council, or were you already in? It was right after or right before you got put in, right? Right after you got put in. So I've really enjoyed working with Kevin Blaylock and Associates. And I've appreciated the time and work that he's put into it. I think the open house went really, really well. We had a lot of good feedback and we had a great turnout. And it was neat to see him in action and working with the different departments. And so I'm excited for him to present his findings.
Yeah, that works.
I know it's there. I looked at it earlier today. Actually, yesterday.
This reminds me of the commercial. Technology, we need new technology.
We can start at the back and work forward. I think like while he's following that, this is correct-ish. That's just the last page.
Dale promised me a new computer today. So.
Day late and dollar short.
Yeah, while he's getting that going, thank you for having me. I need to apologize for the way I'm dressed. I don't usually dress this way in front of a council. I was in a couple of on-site construction meetings today, kind of from Harrisville to Farmington, working my way down. I thought I was going to have time to go home and change and clean up a little bit. So
You're fine.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now you
Just go next page.
Yeah.
Right there.
Thank you. My takeaway is don't admit guilt.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Practice. Anyway, thanks for having me. Well, welcome to summer. I always think the end of May, the 1st of June. I know it's not quite like calendar summer, but my wife and I were joking that up until June 1st, it seemed like we were at the 45th day of May. We have like a senior graduating high school, and all of those activities may just never ended, which I'm okay with. It's a glorious month. Arriving here, I just heard from everybody about the beautiful city, and I'm every time I'm sort of awestruck, and I want to go down and experience Main Street, which is where the library is. Again, thank you for having me, and congratulations on everything you're doing for the city. We were engaged by Donna and I think probably the library board end of last year or something, Donna, to kind of provide an assessment of the existing library and see what it would take, what it would mean to kind of develop a new library for the citizens of Payson. So we've done this for communities kind of throughout the Intermountain West, specific to library projects, but also for a lot of other public projects, City Hall, police, fire station, things like that. So we have a little bit of experience. I would say Payson is incredibly unique in both its setting and the community. The response that we got every time we engaged with the community was pretty amazing. This document is kind of what we call 99% complete. We sent a copy over to Donna a few weeks ago. We had some edits, and I think that you guys have probably seen it. So this is kind of an opportunity for everybody to provide some more comment or feedback before we issue kind of a final report. I'm not going to go through at length what's in the document, just for sake of time, or you guys can read it. I'm more here to just kind of provide a summary, an overview of the process and the results, and kind of figure out maybe where to go from here. So our process included analyzing the existing facility for kind of continued life, as well as responding to the public need, evaluating the circulation, the collection size, and how many with that, looking at the circulation rate and looking at the population currently as well as the population growth that's kind of projected for Payson City. And then from that, kind of crunch that data and provide sort of a recommendation or a recipe for moving forward. I think it's important for us to establish like the criteria for our analysis when we look at and kind of explore a public library. So what we hear, what we kind of talk about a lot is the creating this 21st century library. Up until probably 20 years ago, libraries were all about the books and how many books can we fit in a space. And that's great. I'm not here to say books are going away. Quite the contrary. They're actually more popular than ever. But what we know now is that libraries are really people places, and it's more about the experience that creates lasting memories, that makes libraries successful and meaningful to a community for generations. So we kind of have these three categories: library as people, they're people places; library as place, they're kind of gathering places for people to get together and socialize; and then library as a platform, which is kind of a metaphor for the place that people can experience new things, have new opportunities, and access to resources that they might not otherwise have. So that's sort of the lens that we look at it through, and it just, again, I don't want to de-emphasize the fact that it's still about the books, but thinking about the same number of collections, if we think about the number of bodies that we're trying to fit into our space, that's one of the reasons that libraries are growing. Even if we have the same amount of books, we want to make sure that we can accommodate a lot of people and a lot of different activities. So we have a sort of a 2-page introduction in this document. Then we have these 5 different parts: executive summary, which is sort of the Cliffs Notes version, our scope of work, what we were hired to do, engaged to do, our community input process. We gave Donna a little bit of an a la carte menu of how she would like to spend her dollars for our services. And one of the things that we sort of landed on was the importance of community engagement and community input in terms of determining what's important for the community with the public library moving forward. And then creating a building program, how big the space is and what goes into those spaces. And then obviously lastly, sort of our recommendation moving forward. The one thing that's absent from this, or maybe next steps, and any discussion about cost and kind of how to move forward. And that's where we still need some feedback. Just in terms of,
you're done.
We're done. See how quick I am? My first time in front of technology. Part of our process is to understand Payson City's vision for the future. And we went back to this general plan, 2020, I believe is when it was published. And we do that to see if the library's vision and the city's vision are aligned in goals and objective and vision. And so we were really pleased to discover that they are very much sort of lockstep, sort of moving forward. Everything that the library is doing and promoting is in essence supporting or a subset of the city's sort of overarching goals. Part of that, I think there was a survey or some public outreach previously, and this question was raised about how much support for the public library. So what we highlighted with this page was that the library importance was number 4 on this scale. And our message to you in part is that the 3 items that are above the library can actually all be supported by the library. So we just want to move the library to the top of the list. I can't remember the top 3, nor can I see, but it was like city parks, public open space. Help me. Okay, you can't read it either.
Probably roads.
Yeah, we can help define roads.
Yeah, sometimes those costs are very astronomical as well. So
I understand we work with a ton of communities, and every community has varied needs, and it's all about compromise and balance, as you know, Mayor and council members know.
And I think that leads into this right sizing of a building. We're big advocates of not overbuilding, not building too much, but we also don't want to kind of fall short of the mark. So some of the data that we shared with the library staff and library board were these national metrics for library sizes. And on the short end, or the small end for population size compared to building size, 0.6 or 6/10 for every population member versus all the way up to 1 full square foot per population member. We're seeing these numbers come down considerably. 20, 25 years ago, cities were, in our experience, overbuilding. Now you have these really luxurious projects. Salt Lake City is guilty of this with a 200,000 square foot library. City of Seattle, City of Phoenix, Vancouver. Like they're just huge, and they can't operate them. They can't afford to operate them efficiently. So we're advocating for right sizing. This is an interesting metric to look at, but we're just advocating sort of this right sizing. What do we need now to make sure that the library is set up for success within the community for the next 50 or 60 years? And then, sorry, just down at the bottom, when we talk about this 21st century model of library, we're allocating space differently. We're putting more emphasis on people. We're still accommodating the books and opportunity for books to grow and thrive, but it's more about people space. So part of our process, in addition to analyzing and exploring the existing building and immediate site, the library board and library staff, I should mention Carl. Carl was a huge help. Hey, Carl, thanks. Those entities, those groups helped us identify 5 or 6, I think we looked at 7 or 8 sites across the city. And we really zeroed in on these 5 as potential opportunities. So, of course, the existing library location, site B is the museum just east of town, just east of the library. Wilson Elementary were D and E, and C, of course, is over by the pool complex. So we evaluated those and kind of came up with the pros and cons or challenges and opportunities with each of those. And that is explained in this document a little bit as well. They're really great. I think the fact that that the city owns all or most of these sites present a huge upside, right? Because there's not the cost of land. That said, there isn't really kind of that perfect site. What we landed on as a group and what the community supported was next to the Petite Neat Museum, which is this site, for a number of reasons. It's really fantastic if you can combine city amenities, community amenities, because there's an automatic kind of synergy there. And here, I think you really have 3 or 4. You have this active park space, you have this passive park space, you have the children's or the historic museum, the Petite Neat. You've got year-round activity opportunities there. You have the opportunity to provide enough parking regardless of the activity. So it seemed to kind of be a no-brainer. And in full disclosure, this study looked at removing the 50s or 60s edition and placing the new library kind of adjacent, connected to the museum by virtue of removing that. So. Our process, all right, once we got through that, just in terms of scope of work, Donna identified, the project goals and the outcome. We reviewed those with the library board. We met with some individuals from the Friends of the Library. And of course, we also engaged the project staff just as a double check, like, are we all speaking the same language and on the same path? So that was also super enlightening. Donna is just ridiculously amazing in what she does. We see that from a lot of librarians, but Payson City is lucky to have her in the position that she's in. And part of that is the team that she has around her. Like everybody's passionate and knowledgeable and open-minded, and it's really refreshing and amazing. So keep them happy is what I would say. This is a little bit of data crunching. We want to understand the makeup of Payson City. What are the demographics? So Payson City is outpacing Utah and national averages in terms of like the young group from 0 to kind of 30-year-olds, reaching out punching everybody. And kind of the trick is to keep them here, keep them excited and invigorated about Payson. And that's one of the biggest attributes that we hear nationally from the impact of libraries on communities. We know that Payson is a city that is experiencing rapid growth, like a lot of Utah. Part of that, I think, is because of your beautiful setting, the amazing sort of history and authenticity around the city, but also the cost of living compared to what you can get elsewhere. You guys are throwing strikes for sure, or hitting home runs. I don't know. Payson's a baseball city, so I'm trying to draw an analogy there. I think it's really amazing. One of the things that struck us is over the next 30 years, the growth rate is projected to kind of triple your population size. Again, this is data that we're grabbing from general planning documents and any online research that we can do. So that is consistent with a lot of cities that are your size throughout Utah. And then we kind of just keep going. We drill down into some of the details. Like I mentioned, Payson City's got kind of a younger population, an average or above average household size for Utah, which again is larger than national numbers. I mentioned we analyzed their existing collection, library's existing collection, their circulation report, and how do those align with the public demographics. Our takeaway is there's a huge population of elementary school, middle school, and high school, even into secondary education. And the library has a lot in that collection, but not enough space to support the traditional activities that we're seeing sort of, locally and nationally. Just more data, facts, and figures. I think the biggest sort of aha moment for us that was compelling was we held this open house at the library one evening for a couple, 3 hours or something. The library board brought in, or friends of the library brought in a bunch of pizza. We measure the success of these things by the turnout, the number of participants. And for a community this size, we're 25,000 residents, somewhere in that. We were expecting about 250 or maybe 300 people to turn out in person. We would be thrilled if we were like 400 or 500. We were 750, 720, over 700 residents came out to kind of share their thoughts with us, which was tremendously moving and in itself just a measure of success. We went through a series of outreach exercises, online survey, a paper survey you could fill out in person. We had all of these interactive activities trying to engage with the public and find out what was important to them. And there's all of the results are kind of available within this document, or we've got some additional kind of takeaways. Again, we're kind of comparing the demographics of people that turned out to the demographics of the city, and what their asks are, what their needs are for the community. Really just sharing, distilling down some of the responses and information that we received. I think obviously one of the big takeaways is the public's appetite for spending money, right? Because any project we undertake, be it roads, ball fields, or libraries, it's going to cost some money. So we have a very specific set of exercises where we ask the public, you know, how much would you be willing to spend? Sort of hypothetically, right? We don't know where that money's coming from, but everybody has disposable income. And a lot of times we put it into these four categories, sort of the dirty soda, whatever that Utah is really known for, because those can be like as much as $4, $5, $6 per drink. Sort of the Happy Meal or fast food, sort of take out a pizza or like a movie subscription. These days, people really have, you know, a number of streaming services that they subscribe to. So we try to put those monthly costs sort of relative to what's in their everyday lives. And that the response that we got is pretty much what you'd expect. Like I'd be comfortable paying between $0 and $4 per month.
Can I just jump in really quick on that comment? So in the survey, I think there were like 320 to 340 people that actually responded to this survey. That number is 297. So 297 people of the respondents actually said that they would be willing to pay something towards that. I thought that was really that's really important to put in there as a level of understanding that the vast majority of people understand that this is going to cost something and that they're willing to put something towards it. So.
Yeah, that's a great clarification. Again, we had this as a paper survey and a digital survey and an in-person survey. So we combined all of those results into kind of one distilled down version. And part of that process was, you know, just sort of openly sharing, these are the potential sites that we like narrowed down to. And we asked for their feedback as well, like which ones do you like and why? So even the public was sort of overwhelming majority favoring that petite, neat location next to the museum. And then we try to understand what challenges exist and where they're seeing opportunities for improvement sort of across the board relative to site and programming and cost, all of the things. This is a second budget planning exercise. We're trying to communicate to the public. If you have $10 and everything on your wish list costs $18, you're not going to get everything on your wish list. So how would you spend your $10 budget, right? So that's also kind of compelling. It tells us where they would prioritize the programs, the functions, the activities. And it also says that people understand that they have to be willing to make some compromises. So it's sort of a fascinating process for us, and we've found that the community really kind of gets on board and more engaged with a more thorough, complete understanding of some of the challenges, but it also generates some excitement. We do some dot polling. Green means yes, go, I like it. Red means don't give me this. And these are all just sort of aspirational, like what could it look like? We have not put any kind of pen to paper to figure out like what it looks like. We've summarized all of the public results, including the comments. Quickly on programming, I talked before about how the library is changing from being, you know, all books and very little people. We have a formula that we use in terms of trying to get more people and more books and get them in the correct balance. So we just kind of did this breakdown and ran it by Donna and her crew. Librarians always want the most amount of books, but they definitely understand that it's the people that make the space special, both from like the staff side as well as the community. So compromise. This is sort of the last part of it, our recommendations moving forward. We landed on 26,000 square feet. If you remember, that is dramatically less than what kind of the national standards are, even on the low side. Definitely not on the high side. And our objective or recommendation would be to consider this as a 60-year building, knowing that 26,000 square feet with enough management should get you comfortably 30 years down the road. And then at that point, you might need to make some difficult decision, like, are we going to expand, or are we going to, is all the growth on the west side and we need a branch or something like that? So,
Oh, this is Payson. We milk all we can out of our buildings. Don't you worry.
don't I know? Yeah. I mean, the building that you're in right now is about 100 years old, maybe a little bit more, according 101.
Just getting broke in.
Yeah. So
Is the footprint that you used, the footprint that you used on the 26,000 at the Petite Neat and all the rest of them, is that a one story?
You know, on the Petite Neat, because of the slope, the hillside, we would probably recommend like a 1 story with a walkout, or call it a 2 story. Some of that is also, we want to make sure that the scale of that location kind of works with the scale of the building. So we didn't look at it too in depth. That footprint does represent a single story, but I think it would probably be better to kind of squeeze the footprint and maybe grow into the hillside, or grow up a little.
When you say single story, is there a basement to it, or that could be a walkout basement there and still have a second story?
Yeah, we haven't gotten that detailed, but I think a walkout, when we would probably, in that scenario, like, take advantage of that particular setting. It'd be great to put all the mechanical and storage and maybe future expansion in the basement, and still have, kind of views to the west out of a walkout. And I think that you could do that in a way that it's a single story with a walkout basement.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you necessarily need to go another floor up. But that is actually a good segue, Mayor. That's part of the next steps, is like, does the city want to engage? Like, how far do you want to go?
That's extend the life of the building itself, and go from 30-year to maybe a 50-year.
Correct. Yeah, for civic buildings, right, we always say build to a 60-year quality, which just means low maintenance and responsible in terms of energy efficiency. So you're not dumping money into, electric bills and gas bills. Like, just kind of be smart about it. High quality product. It's a public building, so it's going to get a little bit of abuse. So we just want to make sure that the materials last and they're timeless. One of the things that we heard over and over from the public was, make sure it still feels like Payson. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. Let's go. Let's
sure
sign a
Bob.
contract.
I'm sure Bob could have an opinion on this, but I've always been told that you have to have something underneath the original building. And usually that basement is the cheapest part of the operation. And am I right?
Yeah, basements are a really great use of money. They're affordable. They're not free, right? And I think that's sometimes where people get lost, for sure.
Well, and I just want to reiterate that the only reason maybe not the only reason, but one of the reasons I think the Wilson School came in last was because when I went, there was a lady standing by the board telling everybody, my child goes to Wilson. We don't want the library at the Wilson. We want our children to go to Wilson forever. And I don't think a lot of people were aware that Nebo School District had already said, you guys are going to take over Wilson School. So we need to take that into consideration as well.
So just going along with that, I have a few questions for you. So, is there a reason you didn't consider Library Corner? Because if we move from downtown, it still keeps us in the downtown area and helps with the downtown.
That's a beautiful question. You're tugging at my heartstrings. That's a perfect location for the library. I think that there were some real challenges. It's a really constrained footprint. So I think it would mean acquiring some of the neighboring property. It's really a great location. We talked about it. Like, it's really, really.
I know it was on the originals. That's why I was wondering why.
Yeah.
I think the reality of a feasibility study is looking at all of those different factors and eliminating those that maybe aren't as feasible as other ones.
At a high level study, we didn't go too granular with like cost of land and like timeline, but it's a great spot. Anchoring Main Street. Yes. Sorry.
Travis, do you have a comment on that? Hey, there's the basement.
Flood. A water feature that did come up. That was actually, I think
so
that
there's
was the
another
nail in the
reason
coffin.
for cost, for sure.
So along with that too, along with the Wilson, is it had on your list. It had a ton of challenges. One of them was cost, but on all the others, it didn't have cost as a challenge. To me, if Wilson's a challenge for cost, then it ought to be a challenge on all the other sites because they're going to cost a lot of money too.
I'd say more where the, price per square foot of what we paid for Wilson was pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. If you're undertaking any project, cost is going to be a challenge.
Right.
It's always something.
But it was on the Wilson, but not on the others. So
Yeah, and
when people look at that, they're going to say, "Oh, this is a challenge here because of cost," but they don't see it on the others. So
No, that's fair. Just to piggyback on that, I think there are more unknowns with that particular undertaking. That's why we indicated that it was a challenge. Time and
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Time and time again, when we undertake these projects, what starts out as like, this is going to be great, we can use an existing building, you just don't know what you're inheriting. And a lot of times you're just inheriting some other problems, challenges, right? So.
Now, one more question, just on Petite Neat, where would you put parking? I don't see a place for parking at Petite Neat.
Yeah, I think, again, back to the mayor's question about this.
Because you can't mess with the unsanctioned sledding hill.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No.
We heard about
we should not sled there, residents.
We heard
We don't
about
do
the
that.
love for
What are you
the
talking about?
sledding. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's plenty of opportunities. There's the parking lot to the south that could maybe be expanded. I think there's an opportunity for the parking on the street, but also this is shown as a single story, 26,000 square foot footprint. So if we stack that with a partial basement, then you've got potential for parking on the north side. Again, we haven't gotten like super granular or laid out a footprint or a floor plan on these and sort of addressed all of the parking. We're just identifying, here's a potential site the city already owns with all 5 of these or all 8 that we looked at.
You have a lot of great data here, so thank you. I mean, there's how the use of the building and the size and all that. There's a lot of great data. Thank you.
I don't want to show my bias or anything, but the other really cool thing about Petite Neat, besides my grandma went to school there, is that it's got the amphitheater, which we could use for story times. I mean, it's got all that green space that kids could play in. I just think it's such a great way we've worked so hard as a city to preserve Petite Neat. And I think of all of the buildings in the city, I think it's great to concentrate so much on that. But I think it enhances Petite Neat so much more and gives it so much more relevance to attach a library to it, because those are both so iconic, in my opinion. So I'm really passionate about the Petite Neat one because I think Wilson, for me, I'm spewing my opinions here, but Wilson has a lot of potential, but I think you're looking at a 20-year and then we got to move again. And just moving a library is so expensive. So doing all of the cost of whatever, and like he said, there's so many unknowns in that. I don't even know. Carl and I have talked about both. And to take out walls and to make it a functional library and to close entrances and make it so, and where it's located, I just don't think is quite as prime as Petite Neat, but that's just me throwing in my shoes.
And I have a question. Why aren't we considering putting it in the actual Petite Neat building? Just because of the weight of the books, or was that even thought about?
Yes, sorry. I thought that there was things of substance. Like I thought we were trying to.
There's already a
museum.
It is, and I do wonder if the amount of stairs and the lack of building space would be a challenge too.
I think if you change the use of that, we may need to upgrade the seismic and all of the codes, including the foundation. That's why I would suggest that if we consider that spot, that we do a detached building, because anytime you connect to a historic building or an older building, you have to bring it up to current codes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that, I think that's a great point. And
Donna mentioned that that's a great location. Me personally.
Yeah.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry. It turned itself off, but personally, it's a process that we need to make sure we do right.
and have it be used as long as it possibly can. And the other thing that I tried to remember, but I just brought it to the top of my memory, we've never had a library built from ground up. We seem to have reused buildings quite a little bit, which is not necessarily bad.
Right.
But for a library, I think would be well to have a new building.
I just wanted to say, and this is just, I know Donna had her person where she was like, I know this is more of a personal, but maybe this is mine, but also what I've heard. My worry about putting it by Petite Neat is the 21st century library that all other cities have doesn't fit next to Petite Neat. Petite Neat is a historic, beautiful building. And I just don't think that it fits. And so it would have to match it because I don't want to take away from that. Also, I feel like the 21st century library, every one that I've gone into is cold. It is
sharp and
that's my big
no personality
worry. So when whatever ends up happening, I think that really needs to be considered. And then reading through some of the things with the 21st century library, I kept reading things and thinking, well, doesn't the Innovation Center kind of do that? Doesn't the Innovation Center kind of do that? And so I don't want to take away from that also. But I want to really pay attention to what people really wanted out of the library so that if we did have to do a new one, that the budget was where it should be, because we have parks. I'd rather put the money into an already established park, just different things like that. Those are just my concerns. And so as soon as I heard Petite Neat personally, I don't think right next to it is just, that would be my only concern, is that we then modernized that area, and that wouldn't be personally a Payson feeling. So
Go ahead.
Man, I would just say, look at what Spanish Fork did with their existing Thurber School and their new library.
Yeah, it doesn't.
They were able to mesh it and make it look like it was intended to be.
Well, and Provo with Academy Square was a good example.
Doesn't look turn of the century, but it matches what's there.
Yeah, they brought some of the brick over.
And the library, have you been in the library? Spanish Forks?
See, I disagree. I don't think they match at all.
No, and I think Spanish Forks is very cold.
Very cold. It's already too small. It didn't match the Thurber School at all. I think we've discussed this before. If we do put it next to Petite Neat, it needs to look like the building of Petite Neat, like the Pioneer building.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah,
so
I would.
If it goes there.
That stack, right, becomes two-story, you would eliminate some of the elevation, and parking could be down on this northwest corner.
Yep.
And you change elevations of parking, so you have two elevations of parking, and one of those could enter in.
And then save the amphitheater yard area space. Yep.
Possibly.
But we'd have
Again, they haven't got into that type of detail. This was just
Yeah.
right. What fits, what works well with people, like, the place. How can people get there? This is still close to downtown, and as we grow over the next 40 years, it'll still be the center of downtown.
Yep.
So
Sorry, I'm going to because we have had overwhelming feedback on that statement, that it's cold, and we want to keep our cozy, and we want to keep it feeling like Payson. And I go to all libraries everywhere, and I think Draper has done a good job of keeping theirs. Oh, sorry.
Turn it on.
A second.
It does. It turns itself off.
It did. I didn't touch it. Draper has I feel like some communities do a really good job of keeping it that community feel. And that's really important to me. And it's really important to my staff. And I think it's really important to the board as well that we keep that feeling. So we are aware, and we've heard that, and we hear that. So
yeah, we've talked about that. And I've brought up, what St. George did with their library, because their old library was very cold, very 70s, it was awful. Mm-hmm. And I went there a lot. And their new one is beautiful, and it has the sandstone St. George Pioneer outside look, and the inside is beautiful too. So it can be done.
I think it's up to us to make that
It's more
happen.
inspiring.
So I just want to make one comment too of my thoughts and feelings. I've read through this and hearing everyone talk. Um, I I really love where the library is right now. So I want to maximize and use that location as long as we can. And I don't want to see the library move somewhere as a band-aid and then further put a really neat library off track and then have to go through the cost of changing something too. And so my thoughts to the board and to Donna is let's stay where we are as long as we can until we can truly get the library that you want and the Payson City residents deserve. And we'll continue to save for that and budget for that. And hopefully we have more coming in to allow for this in the future. And yeah, I fear when we move the library from downtown too, there's no two ways about it. That is going to hurt downtown a little bit. It just really is. And so when we move the library, I want it to be intentional and I want it to be something we can all be proud of and not just a Band-Aid move. And so if we truly feel like Wilson is a Band-Aid move, I'd kind of shy away from that, which, I felt differently about in the past. But now as I look through this data, I think we need to be very cognizant and diligent about where we move this library. And I do like this Petite Neat location. I think if any city could do it right, I think Payson could, as far as building something next to Petite Neat and making it look right, not just a concrete box next to our beautiful Pioneer Elementary School there. We just have to design it delicately and position it in such a way that it doesn't overshadow Petite Neat, because we have invested so much funds into preserving that. And I think putting the library next to Petite Neat could elevate Petite Neat's ability to attract people and also its relevance moving forward as well. And so I just want us to let's be very intentional about this. Let's plan and save for the future and do a good library that everybody's proud of, and not just move us haphazardly and then kill downtown and then not have money to do a new library too.
Well, Ryan, you just, you put into words what I was saying when I said we had a history of reusing buildings.
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes a Band-Aid. And so I appreciate those comments, because we don't want a Band-Aid.
Right.
Yeah, I think just probably in closing, you all are brilliant. This is exactly echoing what we heard from the 720 residents that came through in person and on survey. It was sort of be respectful of, regardless of where it goes, be respectful of Payson and its rich and kind of colorful history. It's definitely worth mentioning. A 21st century library doesn't have anything to do with aesthetics. It's more about like the quality of the space and how the building is configured, right? How much daylight, how much people space. We don't have any idea what it looks like yet. That is a good segue into the next steps. We typically, you need to think about a 28-month process. So 12 to 14 months for design, and then 12 to 14 months for construction. So just in terms of planning stages, you talked about, right? We want to make sure we do it right the first time and that it's affordable and we've got a plan, right? And we 100% support that. We know factually that if you move from Main Street, it creates huge opportunities for commercial, retail, whatever, but it also presents a scary sort of vacuum, right? So that having that plan in place, I think, is super important. And obviously all of this comes with a cost. So our scope that we were engaged and hired to do is complete or nearly complete with this document and this presentation. We've got a little bit of buttoning up to do. Then the next step is to engage an architect engineering firm for the design at whatever point you guys are ready, and then obviously go into construction. We've got our bond banking person here that a lot of times we work hand in hand with those individuals to help cities kind of craft an intelligent, informed plan. So,
unless there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you need, I would certainly like to move on. And we've had a very, very good discussion. It's not going to be a discussion that we're going to drop. And but I do not want to cut you off unnecessarily. But do you have some other things that you would like to discuss with us?
I'm just here to answer questions. So.
My one quick question. you 26,000 square foot, and you said that's quite a bit small. And I do thank you guys for trying to make it smaller, because I've walked into too many huge empty libraries. So thank you for cutting it back. But what size do you go off of normally? Population, or how do you gauge the size of the building, and why is ours small?
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know that you were here for some of the national metrics that we use as sort of a wet thumb. And we're really advocating for something less than that, because librarians are like magicians and wizards. They like figure out how to do stuff in smaller spaces. If we were starting this project, we would probably be recommending 30 to 32,000 square feet, given your current population size and the projected growth. I'm hedging. I think we can get really creative with 26,000 square feet and get everything that's on the wish list with some compromises. Not everybody gets what they ask for. Right?
Okay, thank you.
How many square feet is the current library? Just for context.
I think it's 5,000 on the main floor, and then it's got that small upstairs space, and then a basement,
Downstairs.
and then the space that they hide skeletons that we can't talk about.
Okay.
That's right. And the tunnel under the street.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
On my copy of the agenda, what are we deciding today? Do we need to decide anything?
There's no motion, Mayor.
That's what I was thinking. There is a motion here, but I don't think we need one. Like I say, it's a conversation we need to continue to have. Okay, we okay, council? Okay, thank you, Kevin, appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Yes, Donna, thank you. Okay, going on to number 5, resolution approving the second amendment to the development agreement for the Hyatt Creek Phase B1 and B2 project, authorizing execution and related matters. Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. To start out, I would like to introduce Daniel Danzy. He is counsel for White Horse Development, so the Harans, Tyler and Nathan. He's here to help me and tag team this presentation. I just want to pull up, the agreement is in your packet, and just go over a little bit of the history and where we're at. So the original development agreement between the city and White Horse was signed back on September 4th, 2025. We've already previously done a first amended agreement adding more land to that development. And they're asking for a second amended agreement where they're adding more land to the development and to be able to allow those people to use the amenities. And then in allowing them to use those amenities, they are proposing in exchange to make those amenities bigger, to go from a 2,000 square foot clubhouse to a 2,500 square foot clubhouse, adding shade pavilions and picnic tables, commercial grade playground, and pickleball courts. And so in negotiating this agreement, staff's concern was the timing of these amenities, when they would be put in, because the staff's concern was that they go through all the phases and they start charging HOA fees, and there's nothing for the residents to do or have anything to show for it yet. So there's a negotiated part of this agreement where they're allowed a certain number of units to be able to start collecting some of those HOA dues, but they wouldn't get certificates of occupancy until after that threshold has been passed and they substantially complete the new amended amenities. In this agreement, we provided a lot. I don't know, it's not scrolling with me up there. Let me.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
There we go. Now it's starting to scroll. The intent in including so much detail was so that there wasn't any ambiguity on what is expected of both parties. I just want to get down to the pictures themselves. They've provided elevations of what the clubhouse would include, the size of the recreation areas, the changing area, a gathering area, the restrooms, ultimately, the activities that are going to be done in the recreation room would be left up to the HOA and the residents, what they want to put in there. If they want to put in a theater or ping pong tables, pool tables, leave it up to the residents to decide what to put in there. They've provided some details on what the pool would look like. And just for some context, our code maxes out at 2,000 square feet. And then afterwards it says for every additional unit, it's 10 square feet. So it's approximately 50 units. That's how we get from 2,000 to 2,500 square feet for the clubhouse. They put those renderings of what it's intended to look like. Get some detail on what the pavilions, what kind of pavilions to expect. In the agreement is the dimensions of the pavilions. And the types of picnic tables and playground, because we don't want that to be ambiguous either. It's going to be one substantially similar to one that's in the agreement itself. There we go. So commercial grade picnic table and a playground substantially similar to that. And with that, do you have anything to add, Daniel? Oh, yeah. Are you logged in? Can you make Daniel a presenter? Okay, perfect. He's going to pull up the area, the expansion area is what we referred it to, which would be included in this amendment. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, council members. Again, my name is Dan Danzy, attorney for the developer. And I think just one thing we'd like to emphasize, what Brandon was saying, is this is not a new development. This is not a new agreement. It's an existing development. The original agreement contemplated 2 phases that are shown as B1 and B2 on the screen there. Those plats have actually already been recorded. B1 was recorded last fall. B2 was recorded this spring. And then with our first amendment, we added some additional land here that's going to be referred to as phase D, phase D1 and D2. And then this new amendment adds an additional phase over here, phase A. And like Brandon said, that I think the real crux of the amendment, though, is to outline kind of the details of the amenities and the phasing for the construction of those amenities.
And so what the applicant is asking for tonight is a signature from the city on allowing the amendment to proceed and go forward as stated in the agreement. And with that, is there any questions?
Staff recommendations.
So working with planning and the zoning with Michael, with Daniel, we do recommend it because it does fit within our ordinances, our long-term planning goals. It doesn't increase the density. They still are bound to that voluntary agreement where there's 6 units per acre. It just shifts some of the units over to be able to use the existing amenities that they were going to put in anyway, but expanding those.
Okay, I think you answered my question, but I want to double check. So, phase A second amendment originally might have had less units, but the general space was smaller. And so this is just shifting what was going to be around the general space kind of over and expanding the like amenities. So they still have the same amount of
Still same amount of
units.
units. Yeah, there's no
It's not like
increase in
changing
units.
zoning or anything like that.
No increase in units, just allowing the Phase A people to use the amenities instead of doing a whole new phase and a separate clubhouse, separate everything, just expanding the existing to allow them to.
And because of that, we've increased the size of the clubhouse by 500 square feet, correct?
Yep. And added some additional amenities as well.
So a question for you. So did this have to go to planning and zoning also? Or just to city council?
Not the amendment.
Just to city council because it's an amendment.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, the original agreement's been signed. The amendments were negotiated between the parties.
Any other questions? Okay, if we have no other questions, thank you for the explanations.
I guess one last question, Mayor. Sorry. So what do you guys feel was the need to do this shifting around, and what's the reasoning behind it?
I think this was mainly a staff request, as I recall. I prematurely close that out. I think the developers' intent has always been to include Phase A as allow those folks to be part of what's called the Hyatt Creek subdivision. This whole thing's going to be part of the Hyatt Creek subdivision. And so the purpose of the amendment, as it was going through the kind of the entitlement process, was to satisfy staff that yes, in fact, that is going to be a commitment, that these folks will be included as part of the development. They will be entitled to use these amenities, and that it will be kind of developed as a cohesive whole. And I do think that the clarification on the timing and the kind of the additional amenities that are going to be created just benefits the whole community.
Yeah.
How many units, really quick, how many units will use the amenities? I can't remember if it stated that.
Yeah, so the up here, there are 100 units that are already platted here.
Uh-huh.
This one, I believe, is going to be 50, and I can't remember the density for D off the top of my head, but
Approximately 250 units total.
Yeah.
Probably 2,500 square.
Yeah. But the key is those units aren't being expanded.
No.
Correct.
Okay.
The big thing, the way that I understood it and negotiated it was, it's adding that instead of having to do a separate clubhouse for 50 people in that phase.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Redundancy that doesn't need to be redundant.
yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't want, I always know that people always complain that there's too many units, like for all the amenities in an HOA. And that was just my worry, is that people are going to say, well, I pay for this, but it's always so crowded and I don't want to. So that was all.
And
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's been expanded.
in the middle of that.
Okay.
In the future, we are doing that code rewrite, and it is something that is being looked at because our code maxes out at the 2,000 square feet, and then it's an extra 500 or 10 square feet for 10 feet per unit.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of the size of the developments we're getting, we think that that's outdated and we need to expand the scope of that.
Okay. I believe we had a good discussion and no more questions. If there are, I don't want to cut you off. We good? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we give you authority to approve the second amendment, or to sign the second amendment to the development agreement for the Hyatt Creek Phase B1 and B2 project, authorizing the execution and related matters.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. Roll call starting with Council Provost Guard.
Yes.
Council Mom.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Resolution carries. Okay, going number 6, ordinance amending Payson City Code Title 5 Stormwater to comply with Utah Code.
Mayor,
Whoop.
your mic.
Gosh, I didn't touch it. I really didn't touch it. Sorry.
I think it just times out.
Time's out. Okay. I better keep look at that little red guy there, I guess. Okay, ordinance. Amending Payson City Code Title 5 Stormwater to comply with Utah Code 19-5-108-3, providing for definitions, limitations, and regulatory authority, electronic site inspections, best management practices, enforcement procedures, and adoption of a fee schedule and providing an effective date. Brandon, you're still up.
Well, Mayor, you just presented everything that I needed to say with that right there. So, last year, the legislature passed 19-5-108.3 that was requiring cities to come into compliance with those requirements, which include defining some key terms, prohibiting cities from being more stringent than the federal Clean Water Act, unless expressly allowed under the state code. But the state code saying we follow the Clean Water Act, you can't be more strict than that. Define and allow electronic site inspection, which I think is interesting, that they would allow a drone to fly over a SWIP area, or someone to take pictures and send time and date stamped pictures to the city official that's overseeing it. Get the BMPs in line with federal Clean Water Act standards. Those are the best management practices. So if there's questions about those, that's why I said I'm going to tag team this with Travis. So any technical questions about SWIP, he would be able to answer those. And one of the biggest parts of it is to give the city the authority to name someone or authorize someone to conduct those inspections and to cite people for violations, provide an escalating fines procedure to get people to get into compliance. And as part of that, the state code laid out the amounts of the different types of violations. That's why there's a amendment to the fee schedule, and allowing the city to be able to enforce that. Because previously you had to go out with law enforcement. Law enforcement doesn't know SWIP, BMPs, those kinds of standards. And so it's kind of hard to enforce, but by doing these amendments to the code, it'll allow Dale Carter, he's the one that would be the one to be able to go out, do these inspections, issue any citations if necessary, and escalate if there's non-compliance. And with those changes, that's why there was several amendments, deletions, insertions in Title V on the throughout the whole title.
Any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward. Appreciate your presentation. Like you said, I said everything you just said.
and that's, yep, that's exactly what we're doing. Everything in there, so.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion unless there's other.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended Payson Code Title 5 to stormwater to comply with Utah Code 19-5-108.3 and adopt a fee schedule.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion been seconded. The roll call vote starting with Council Smith.
Yes.
Council Hewlett.
Yes.
Council Rowley.
Yes.
Council Moss.
Yes.
Council Provost Guard.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we've come to that part of the council meeting to go into a work session. It looks like we'll be moving into the Development Services Conference Room. This
Go to work.
Do it.
You can just announce us.
Okay.
We're in session.
I don't have a. There we go. Okay. Here we are. We're in work session here for the 2026-2027 fiscal year tentative budget at 8:21 p.m. on June 3rd, 2026. Kathy's going to present with us.
Hey, so we're just gonna go over just 5 or 6 slides. It'll only take an hour. Okay, first of all, oh my goodness, it's moving down. I'm really moving. We don't have the final CTR yet. But in research, it looks like this might be the tentative CTR, which is 0.001277. Now, if you look at the history, that means we've gone down just a little bit. So we're not intending to do a truth in taxation. So if this is it, this is what it's going to end up being. Here's kind of the impact to the taxpayers based on home value. You can kind of get a gauge what people will be paying. And if similar rates apply from other entities, it looks like our portion of the total tax will be about 12%. what the citizens voted is. So to cover the budget, I just wanted to go over, well, you can't see that very easily. Some changes to the tentative budget. So we added some hours to one of the planning part-time people. We just adjusted the RDA business park code overlay for $504,416.46.
Ryan, that represents what me and you talked about.
Yeah.
Rather than chip and seal, we needed to do it right.
Overlay.
Yeah.
Not just overlay. Chip, you're gonna,
We're gonna
mill it.
mill it
and
and
overlay.
overlay.
So now, if any of these things you don't want in the budget, you just have to tell me and we'll roll it back for the presentation. For the police, we added $6,600 for the Children's Justice Center at Utah County. Memorial Park Playground. The park tax had put in $175,000. I wasn't aware that we were rolling in last year's $175,000. Plus we got a $200,000 recreation grant, and we're taking $150,000 from the parks budget. And adjustments to the sewer department. I'm sorry, that didn't line up very well. They added some things that they noticed wasn't in the budget, a pit station rollover, internet to the lift station, a streets department sewer project, and a sewer master plan. Communities that care revenue increased to $35,000, and they also received $18,000 in a grant, so we adjusted for that. We're gonna have to go over the HVAC system. They want to put it in next fall instead of this spring.
So wait, which fall?
This coming fall.
2026. Okay. Instead of spring 2027.
Instead of spring 2026.
Oh, well, that's past already.
Sorry.
I like you guys have the money.
And it felt like spring.
I got a question on the sewer master plan. So we just redo our sewer. Is that for all the piping through the whole city? Is that what that is?
So our master plans are the documents that we use when we update the impact fees, and it tells us what projects are needed coming up. You know, if we have any deficiencies. So the last time we updated those was in 2020 when we updated everything. So they are in need of getting updated. So that's what it is.
So next, Kent requested a 3-month sidewalk data entry person to work with Emma's app.
Yep.
And this is just for compliance purposes to report compliance.
Say one time, so we'll hire him to do the job and then.
It's just project related, right?
So we've set it up so that we want to do the whole city the first time. And then based on obviously what we find and the severity of the issue, then some areas will be a lower priority just based on they're not as high of a, walking area, or, school routes will be a high area around some of the buildings here, some of the state routes, whatever. And then some areas will only get inspected like once every 5 years after we get through the first one. So we just want to get a good baseline, and then we can figure out.
Can we do that in 3 months?
It depends how far you can walk it.
That's a lot. That's a lot of town.
If we're at a situation where we need to extend that, we'll come back.
Well, why don't we just do it now? Up to 3, not to exceed 6 months. Be done with it.
Well, the kid that's doing it's a high school student, so
Yeah.
we'll be back in school, so we'd have to do something different with
Then
something.
get work release
later.
And all of our other employees are too busy to chop this and farm mill it around the
I
various.
just don't think you can do it.
Ken felt like if we have somebody just attack this immediately
Okay.
and establish that baseline, then we'll be compliant with our insurance requirements. As long as we can document, we don't have to fix it. We just have to document what is wrong with all of these areas.
Document prioritizing.
Yeah, document prioritize. So I think everybody's pretty confident with this one in the analysis and everything. I think it's gonna be.
Next, because of all the changes in the budget, as you know, indirect services are based on the size of the budget. So that shifted everybody's indirect services around. So that's been updated. Finally, this is my fault. I apologize. We had to adjust for the $481,000 restricted debt service in the capital fund. This is from the property tax increase last year.
The fire station.
Yeah, for the fire station. So the tentative budget was 122,976,923. The current budget we're proposing is $126,573,786.
And 14 cents.
Oh, hold on, before you move on, that's why we have the council here on the playground. We met on that at Memorial Park, and because of the timeline for them to produce the playground would put us right into our celebrations in fall. So we decided rather than mess with that and then put it in this fall and let it sit there all winter, we will we'll pay for it and everything, but we will install spring of next year. Rather than have a new playground, get it in there and sit the snow for and unused. So that's what will happen there. And then we can tear out and put in during slow times of the park.
So one other thing, I'm talking to Scott. Scott's very concerned about getting a ladder truck. We did not put it in the budget. We suggested that that's something the city probably shouldn't self-fund. We were wondering on the council's opinion, and I'm sorry, Robert, I should have, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sorry.
Okay, what you would think if we went out to kind of get some bids on funding. And then if we could line up funding, and then Scott thinks it's gonna be 4 years.
So as I've talked to vendors, it's 3 or 4 years out to get a ladder truck, but if we can order the truck and get the costs locked in, we do not have to pay for it until we take delivery of it.
But we have to show it in the budget though, correct?
Well, it would be similar to a bond, so we would have to report the liability on the government-wide financials, but the actual expense would come when the debt came due.
When the debt came, so we wouldn't have to.
And
2.5 million?
What?
2.5?
Right now, it's between 2 to 2.2 is what they're thinking, as I've gotten guesstimates. But that would give us time, would have some impact funds available at that point. But also not this budget, but other budgets, we could look at saving some other monies to help put towards that as we get ready to pay for it. But until we pick it up, or that budget year that they determine it's gonna be available, that's when we'd have the money in the budget. Otherwise, there's no cost to us. Once we order it, lock the price in until we take delivery, it doesn't cost us anything.
Sooner we lock in the price, the more secure that it is a secure price, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna go up.
And the clock starts running.
Yeah.
Who would do funding from that if you aren't gonna borrow the money? Why would they say, well, we're gonna fund this, and we're gonna borrow?
In the past, what we've done is, we never, before we had the fund for the vehicle allowance, we just used Zions Bank and they would finance it for 5 years or whatever and would pay it off. That's what we did on previous purchases. And then the last 2 engines, the one we have and the one that's going to be here, we've done it through our vehicle allowance. But when you're spending, originally in 2015, it was 550,000 and now this one's 1.2. It really takes a hit to the vehicle allowance, or I mean, the revolving loan, and no one else can buy anything. So for us, it'd be better to go out to the bank to borrow the money.
So they'll lend you knowing you're not gonna borrow?
No, we just get an idea of what the banks or what they would offer once we determine, hey, we need to purchase this vehicle for this much, and here's the date we think is anticipated to be ready.
Okay, so it's really not borrowing anything.
No, not yet.
Right. And it could change, it could go up and down, whatever rate is. We really aren't committing
We're not locking.
we're just saying, we're in the future, in 4 years, we're gonna have to pay for this, basically.
Yeah.
We're gonna borrow money. We're basically ordering it, though.
Yeah, we're ordering it, locking the price in, so in 4 years, it'll, doesn't matter what the costs are at that point, we've already locked our price.
So who's ever on the council in 4 years?
So two questions. Is there a down payment we need to make to order it?
No.
Zero down.
Zero down.
Okay.
As long as we sign and say we're going to purchase it from them and we'll pay when we take delivery.
Yep.
That's what we've always done and have never had a
What's
problem.
the cancellation policy, chief?
Perfect.
If we had to cancel.
Sell to somebody else for
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah, they want it.
Yeah.
So I guess
Second question is, I've always been one that next budget year, we need to have this discussion that we put money into. So if we did it for 3 years and put 500,000 in,
we'd bid 1,500,000.
Right.
I mean, I'm being hypothetical, but if we did, we'd only have to finance 1,000,000.
Well, the impact fees.
Impact Visa took that up,
Are we?
so we wouldn't have to borrow it.
Only
The,
commercial.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, but commercial,
Only impact fees from commercial.
only from commercial.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, we're
what's
gonna
the
get a lot of
opposite was like,
But hopefully we'll get a lot.
We're getting a lot of commercials.
that was.
I say do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's me.
Let's okay exploring it, but I do want to mention, just cautious of the optics of all this. Brand new station, brand new ambulances, brand new fire truck, and a brand new ladder truck. And we raised property taxes on the residents to build it. So
Right.
I just want to be hyper cautious
No.
about this. I want you guys to have the best tools you can. But man, if we buy everything brand new all at once, it looks frivolous.
Right. And I appreciate that, because we don't want to have that occurrence. The engine we're hopefully be receiving at the end of the year. Most of it was impact fees. We did have to fund some of it because we had to pay some of the impact fees back because we charged too much. Right. Ambulances it's paid out of the fund balance of the ambulance. It's nothing from taxes on ambulances.
So I guess I really just like, make sure your department really educates residents on where the money's coming from to pay for this stuff. I think that'd go a long way.
Yeah.
And the other part of that, what you're talking about is if you buy them all at the same time, you're gonna have to do that again.
We need more than that.
Oh, yeah, when y'all were out.
Same time, buy them again.
Yeah. It's a bit.
That's why I think it's really important to do that savings while it's being built,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
as much as we can, if not all of it.
And it's just because it takes long to get it, but our current ladder truck is 25 years old. We try and take the best care we can of these vehicles, but how many of us have 25-year-old vehicles that drive the main vehicle? Right.
The main vehicle, not the main vehicle. You gotta find
I have a 97.
This is 25 days old. You misunderstood what he said.
No matter how well you maintain them, if there's a fault of that equipment during a fire and it's
Yeah.
25 years old, you got a lawsuit looking at.
Yeah. And we're cognizant and trying to think of the residents as well, because on the ambulances, we try and rotate them, usually with the call volume we do about 3, sometimes 5 years in that range. But we've got 2 ambulances right now that are over 200,000. And that's way too much. So, but our problem is with emergency vehicles, it takes ambulances now 2 years. Fire trucks and ladder trucks, 3 to 4 years. When before all these, we could order them and have them within the year. And since COVID, it just takes forever.
By the time we take delivery of this, Lowe's is gonna be 2 years old.
Yeah.
Buying that building. Yeah, that's pretty good money.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I'm with Ann that we need to incur some savings next year in the budget
Yeah.
so that we don't,
And this one's, our ladder truck we have now is a 75 foot. This one will be 107 foot too. Because some of these, like the 5-story apartments, our ladder truck won't reach over it. So this will really help. Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
And with if this all happened perfectly, would the new ladder truck be in addition to or replacement?
In addition to, because we get credit for it, which still trying to maintain the one we have because we get credit with ISO for that. Even as a backup or reserve, we get credit for that, which helps.
So by the time we
Still
get
have
it, it'll
that
be almost a
1950 one.
30-year truck.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm still upset you got rid of the Bronco, but we'll talk about that.
So can I ask really quick?
Man, no.
The items above 11, is that what makes up the difference from the tentative to this?
You put Ken reference that kids in the. Did not
Well, I was starting to, but she quickly clicked. I'm sorry. No, it's not your fault. So I figured I would ask the simple question and it's been Bob.
well, and there's some that don't have dollar signs to them. So was that your presentation, Kathy? Yeah.
Pardon me,
That
Mayor.
your presentation at the end of it?
One thing we're proposing, and this is anticlimactic. I know we said we're not raising rates. Republic Services is raising their recycling rate, and that's a pass-through. We didn't know how you felt about if you wanted to look at raising just the recycling, 31 cents to pay off the difference.
When that's a third party company, I don't have any heartburn about that. That's Republic.
Because that's your-
That's my opinion.
And that's
They
your
can opt
choice.
out. They can
We're
opt
just
out.
passing that cost.
And it's only
Otherwise,
for the
it's
people that,
Not only subsidies.
it's only the people that are choosing to do the recycling. So yes.
So I don't have a problem. It's a user fee anyway. Yeah, user fee for a third party service they can opt out of. Yep. And so if they're upset about that, they can cancel their service.
We'll bring that more into the. Where are we on?
That bottom line, piggyback
I
that.
apologize.
I think it's important, that we've worked very, very hard in this year to make sure that there are no rate increases and things like that. That can't be a continual thing. We have to be realistic about what the coming years are bringing, what we're having to provide for our community, the services that we're providing. So I think to this point, these are things that we're going to have to look at year over year, making sure that we're meeting our obligations, making sure that we can provide that 1.25% bond coverage over the pace. We're fully expecting growth and to be able to cover all of those things, but this is just going to be an annual examination of all of our fees, making sure that they're solvent, making sure that all of our services can be continually provided. And back to the very first slide that Kathy presented about the certified tax rate, it's important to understand that rate is determined to make sure that the city is getting a revenue amount, a dollar amount. And the fact that it's going down a little bit represents the reality that we are serving an increased population with the same amount of money as we received last year.
That's digging us a hole.
But that we've been able to really dig in and overcome that and things like that. But those are things that we have to look at on a year by year basis. So I would just be very cautious about saying we're never going to raise rates, or we're always going to keep the certified tax rate the same, because that may be an unsustainable factor, because if essentially we are serving more people with the same amount of dollars.
Another thing with the certified tax rate is if we get new businesses or commercial building comes in, and we are not getting any value from that because it lowers everybody else's taxes. And so that doesn't bring us up at all. So any new buildings we had in this last year, we didn't raise our tax rate to compensate for that. Then we're actually lowering everybody's tax bill, and we had to make up for the people bringing in this new buildings.
So I hear all of that, and I realize that all the growth is gonna happen and we'll most likely have to raise things, but I also really challenge people to really look at things that they can cut, the non-essential stuff, because I want to be able to go to our residents and say, we cut this, this, and this to help minimize the increase.
Right. And I think that's a very well taken point, and this budget definitely shows that that has been the reality. I think it's also important to, as you're considering that if the budget is going to be cut, that means that services will be cut in that budget. And it's just that constant balance, right?
Services
spending, cost of living, and
it should be uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, one of the examples that I think it shows that we're doing what we can do is with power. We were supposed to do 5.5% raise over a 5-year period. We're stopping it in the third year because of some of the things we've done. So we're not doing that. And so that's a cost saving strategy there.
So I was just gonna say, I wanted to know, I guess, and I've broken record. When are we gonna start the study for the utility rate? Because that goes along with this, of the increases. We have to have proof as to why. The other thing is, I think everyone can echo this, that's on the council at least. People, and maybe me included, do not understand why our utility rates are where they are. Especially the power adjustment that has been nonstop. I don't know if it would be helpful or not to put something out there in layman's terms for so many people to explain it. Because again, this sounds ridiculous to say, but I can tell you handfuls of people that are selling their homes right now to get out of Payson because of utilities. And so it's hard when I constantly have people are like, why are your rates so high? Why are your rates so high? Even people of previous councils have reached out and said, you need to compare this, this, and this. Like, and I don't understand it. And so that's my big concern. And I'm obviously a resident and pay the same. And it is like, that's what I'm saying, me included, I don't understand everything. And I think it would help whether people read it or not. I know I would, but it would also help educate me to then be able to explain to people. And so I guess my thing is, and it goes back to like what Ann said, like hard discussion sometimes. Before I go to say yes on a utility rate, I would say no on a 4 to 5% increase on employee raises again, or something like that. Like I would say no then, or this or that, and that sucks too, because then you get people that are upset and say, well, I'm gonna jump ship to another city, and that's not what we want either. But when people aren't understanding it, it's our duty to also help understand, like teach people, or even just give them the resources, because I don't think it's out there right now.
Absolutely.
That's just,
and I think that those are things that we can do to put a rate study point, Power is a great example where we went through that process. We went through the process of saying our utility rate for power was not keeping up with our expenses. And so the city was subsidizing all of the residents from our reserves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we went through the study. We had a recommendation from the consultant to say, this is what you need to do every single year in order to accommodate that. We have paused that for this year as a method of relief. I don't know if that can be sustainable, right? Because we have a power system that is in dire need of some improvements and stabilization and things like that. I think that as we examine all of our infrastructure within the city, we'll find similar situations, right? Travis and I joke all the time that we could spend $500 million in an afternoon.
Oh, I'd be so good at that.
Right? No problem.
No matter where you go, the electricity is all interconnected.
Yeah.
The one glaring problem, experiment that Texas tried, they tried to isolate themselves from everybody around them. It killed people because of the cold wave.
Another thing that we did is we're putting in those new generators to help stabilize.
That's right.
In the long term, so it might hurt a little bit now, but we're thinking instead of 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, we're thinking 2 years down the road to help stabilize and help the residents later on.
I think
those are things that we can do a better job of educating to be able to say.
In response to Lacey's.
Yeah.
I totally agree. We've got money in the budget for a PID, right? Part-time or whatever.
A PIO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Public Information Officer.
Yes.
I was a director. I mean, a public
PID
information
is a
director.
bad word.
I know. But I've replaced it with something good.
Yes.
Is it part-time or full-time? Full-time?
Arranging different job duties and things like that.
I would really love to see that person putting things in the paper on everything that we're talking about here, that we just kind of expect the citizens to know that they don't.
they just don't.
Well, and I love the idea of also in just layman's terms and
Yes.
to be able to say, and graphics help so much. To be able to say, this is what you're actually paying for. This is where that money goes. These are all those types of things.
Well,
that I'm totally support.
I feel like I'm an educated person, but I'm not an educated person on utilities.
Right.
And so, that's the hard thing, is you have people that understand things that none of us comprehend or understand, but they don't know anything about utilities, and all they see is a monthly bill. And again, like I told Travis this, I was like joking with him one time, I said, I don't think people criticize the sewer charge monthly because they always lump it as their power bill. And it's always, that's what people don't understand either. They just see a total and they're like, oh, it's my electric bill. And they don't, in their brain, it's just how they think.
And so I just think it would be incredibly helpful, or even, like I said, give us something to also, because I've been tagged so many times lately of that, the power adjustment thing. And I had to look on, the one that services West Mountain and like kind of read what they have. And I'm like, I kind of get it now, but I get it.
And I'm trying to get some information. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm not an educated person, so I think it'd be good, really have an example of what our bill is that we mail out to the residents. And line item, show them what the service is, what we provide it, how we provide it.
No hidden fees like some of our companies have.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, and I actually don't understand it either because they love to air condition that.
The volatility comes in when the government started to cancel coal. It was just humming along really good until, we don't have any coal contract because they're gone. And then you get wind, hydro and solar and it's so volatile. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And I think it's great that, we have a power director who isn't here for me to give him a shout out.
But he's so smart.
But he's so smart.
he
And
knows.
one thing that I was so impressed with, to be able to buy into a battery system that will actually be able to take advantage of that solar situation and be able to store it and price balance a little bit. Those are things that we are constantly looking at. And unfortunately, the public doesn't know about that until we get to
evolving.
That's what I say is this PIO can do an in-depth
yes
of look at what we're doing. Another great benefit that we have with our power, I'll just give a shout out to Sean now, is with all the high winds we've had, have you noticed how many cities have been without power for considerable periods of time? I don't know about anybody else, but my power hasn't gone off during all of these winds.
We used to go off. We own that.
That's right. We own
Many cities don't. They're the mercy of other companies that do.
I also want people to just, you mentioned sustainability with, the growth and not increasing rates. Everything is passed on to the consumer and the public. And I don't think that's sustainable either for a lot of people. And I just want to keep that in mind. Because I know that there are people in this room too that are like, gosh, everything is going up.
One thing to say,
And I just want to get
$2.2
us.
million for firing.
one thing we got with our power department is we got some expertise that they can build things for us that if we had to do with the contract, we'd be paying twice.
That is absolutely true.
And that's an advantage that we have when we own our own.
And remember that we have in each utility, we have about 100 miles of pipe that needs replaced in a lot of cases.
Travis, we don't need to hear that study.
I'm just saying, if we don't do
100 miles.
at some point, that's not gonna be able to be sustainable to just ignore it.
Well, I do have a little word of caution is that with the state legislature, how they do these, we're gonna cut your taxes, we're gonna cut your taxes. Well, guess what? They didn't fund MTech for the employees they need to do the students. So we have to be careful that we don't cut in the wrong places just to say that we're cutting, just a word of caution.
Yeah, we do need to cut.
I'm just gonna say from a budgetary standpoint, the first things that we budget for are personnel and for debt service, and then we try and arrange everything else around that. So as the debt service raises, it's less and less it goes into the infrastructure. So, if you don't watch your rates a little bit, you're not gonna have the revenue to keep up with the infrastructure because it's all gonna go to debt service.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And if we lose employees, we gotta go out and attract employees, and when we go out and attract them, then I've seen that we have to end up paying more.
I get that. I'm just, it's, again, like, this is a business. And I work for a business, and if we don't have enough revenue coming in, we have to cut something or figure something out. And, and it's usually when we go to the owners of the business and say, hey, we don't have enough money, can you fund us? The owners of the business are the residents. And eventually they're gonna say, we're done funding you. And that is my biggest, anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to be and I know this is my first year and this is, but it's a big concern,
I think all of us in here, it's a concern of how do we keep living this life, let alone the future generations. If people can't afford to live in Payson because utilities are always more than the surrounding cities, which it is, why come to Payson? That's, and then we don't have.
Significantly. Haven't we done a study?
I've seen some there.
Our power bill.
But there are
Power,
power,
there is.
but yeah, Rocky Mountain
Yeah.
Power is not the savior. They have hidden costs there that you don't see in the rate itself.
But I've seen like other people's in Salem and they're
Oompa, they're a different,
There's only two in this room that are on fixed incomes, and so you guys can still get those raises from whoever you're waiting for.
I mean.
Me and Bill.
there are.
If you own a business and.
There are some people in Payson that believe, and I found that when just interaction like you have with people, that we have our own power plant because Nebo power plant's right next to us. That is not our power plant.
Nope, it's not.
People believe that that is our power plant. Some of them do. And then when I explain, hey, we've got some generators, but we can't do the whole city, but that's not our power plant. We're at the mercy of the national rate, basically. Yeah. So that's another education part.
I'll get off my soapbox.
That's why we have this meeting. To be able to clarify, add a little bit of color to all of these
Okay,
numbers.
so we basically added $4 million to the budget.
For 3.5.
3 point, oh, thank you, Lacey.
You're welcome.
A lot of money to.
And maybe just
spend.
1 year.
Well, we can go
Limit
forward, but
requests from the parks, just for 1 year, just to see.
Well, and that budget represents a small portion of what was requested.
Yep.
I think that's really important for everybody to understand, like, what is needed. This is the bare bones, absolutely bare bones of what could have been a budget.
It just hurts. I was really liking the the original numbers we came up with, and to see it jump up nearly 4 million. It's a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of that also represents money that wasn't spent this year that gets rolled over into the next year.
We just can't keep kicking the can down the road on some things. I'm the first one to say I'm on a fixed income. I really am unconcerned in 10 years where I'll be with my retirement. You probably have to.
We'll send you to the food bank. We got
That's exactly.
Really quick.
You're probably gonna have to build me a little home right there on the corner.
Going back to the education thing, and I know I talked to you about this when I ran, because you were saying about the usage of our electrical also is going up, right? Because we plug in everything. And so after that conversation, I'm not gonna lie, like I went home and I talked to this great electrician and I was like, what can we do in this home to, help reduce our usage? And so we put motion sensors in a ton of rooms. We put time switches because we have kids that like to leave things on. So in that education thing, you could add something to, that little bit helps a lot. And I've noticed that in our home, that just putting timer switches, and I know that it's a little bit up front, right? But most people can replace a
Return on
switch.
investment.
Yes, and so just something also, if you're gonna do like an education thing of like, this might be ways in your home and make people aware that it is that we are increasing our usage, because I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And so it opened my eyes of like, we plug in everything. And so that's just another thing.
And we need to start grappling with the fact that as we advance in the future, we use more electricity, that this is a user-based pay rate. So the more you use, the more you pay.
Yeah.
And so the idea that we can plug in our Tesla, set our thermostat to 62 degrees, is not gonna hurt financially. It's not reality anymore.
Yeah.
And so we do have to make those decisions at home too, to cut back our use, not only for our own power bill, but for the good of the grid of the city as well.
In talking with Cheryl, one thing that they have noticed a lot is people will call and say, my bill has increased so substantially. But in doing a little bit of research on that, it's like, well, you also added 4 people to your household because they decided to move in with you, right? Like, that's a significant change that doesn't generally get considered, but it's a really important factor, right? So I love that idea of additional education and we can really work on that.
Okay, is that all the presentation?
Just last note, I told you the indirect services charge changed a little bit. We send out notice to all the citizens of what we estimated indirect services would be. Because they changed, I just don't want people to challenge and say this isn't the same. We are gonna send this out again with the updated numbers to all the citizens, so they will know. The transfers did not change. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Kathy.
Unless there's any other discussion that we need to have, I'm open to it.
So before I make that motion,
Go.
the 17th is our public hearing and adoption of the budget, right?
Correct.
Next council meeting.
And we're not doing truth and taxation. We're not.
We do have to adopt the CTR, the certified
Right.
tax rate, but it's
We're
just
not going
what
through the
they.
truth and taxation.
Because we're not changing.
We're not changing.
Very good.
So just be prepared for that next council.
Okay.
I make motion that we go home.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Brandon, thank
Go home and be with your families, people. Thank you.
you.